So early!
Maddox, come on, it's Christmas morning!
Why do I have to get up at 8 a.m.? It's freaking...
Okay, can you at least not gritty down the stairs? It's dangerous.
Not dangerous.
That's very fast.
Why can't I just open my gifts?
Maddox, not everything needs to be in a big rush. We're gonna open them one at a time this year.
Oh my, I don't give a crap what Aunt Kathy has!
Tell Aunt Kathy you love her. Say it.
Love you. Love you, Aunt Kathy.
Louder.
Love you, Aunt Kathy! I freaking love you!
Maddox, come on, open your stocking up.
I want to open my gift. The stocking's lame. You just put gum and crap in there. Or Santa does. I don't need chapstick. I don't want chapstick.
Your lips look like a baboon's butt last winter.
So mean.
No, Maddox, get out of there. You're not snacking before your grandma's famous green bean casserole.
Oh my, how long is she gonna make that for? I don't want it.
It's probably as long as she's alive.
Hopefully that's not much longer.
Maddox.
What? She gives me $20. She's a cheap one.
Welcome to Correct Opinions. We are recording live. Well, when we're doing it, it's live. But we are
Yes, we record. Usually it's live.
Melbourne, Australia.
Good day.
Good day. Which, for those of you who don't know, Melbourne is basically Seoul, South Korea. Which I'm not complaining.
And that's
I
fine.
just didn't know. I haven't come across someone who speaks English.
I
haven't ventured out much yet, but...
I told Rachel, I was like, it feels like we went to a different country. Because we've been in Australia a week now, and I feel like I've adjusted to the Australian culture. And then downtown Melbourne, it is different.
Well, you think you're convinced you're staying in Chinatown. I think I'm in Koreatown.
Maybe that's just the whole town.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to think
Just Melbourne town.
We gotta get out a little bit more.
we got some. We know we're gonna get out. And again, that's a little microaggression. We got to get out of here.
No, that's not
Katie
what
just
I
kept
meant.
saying, "There's just a lot of them.
That is
There's a
not
lot."
what I meant.
It's
I
like
just meant,
easy.
we have no idea if this is just like the neighborhood or if it's like the whole city.
No, it's I am learning. I think there's a large Asian influence, but we got some Korean barbecue where you like cook it yourself on a little barbecue.
Oh, I saw
Fun.
that. Yeah.
Yep, that was fun.
Cool.
But
Gotta
no.
get out of this town, though.
Yeah, a lot.
Katie's like, when do we fly to Sydney? Just wondering. How soon can we get that
I
pumped
did go
up?
get my nails done.
A perfect
here.
town to do that.
It's great. It was the fastest pedicure manicure I've ever received.
They're pros.
Yeah, it was kind of like a
Big leagues.
little haphazard. I was kind of like, this is going to be really bad or really good. I don't
Like a
know.
NASCAR pit crew.
Yes.
You're really good at doing this.
And it
quick,
was
I think.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've been on the road for a while. We got some good stories. We also have an amazing interview today with the Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay. So sit back, relax, enjoy, roll music.
Correct opinions. Correct opinions.
What's a game where no one wins?
What
The
is
copy
it?
game.
You're right. No one wins that.
Got her.
But the waiting game. When it comes to hiring, don't wait for great talent to find you. Find them first with Indeed. When you're hiring,
You need Indeed. My goodness, we love Indeed here on Correct Opinions. I've used it to hire great people, like Hannah, who's the most amazing personal assistant. She's all the way in Australia, dude.
She is. She's in a room behind us with Thomas.
So I can't talk bad about her. She can hear it right now. But anyway, Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates. Indeed streamlines hiring with their powerful hiring tools like Instant Match, where over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job.
So start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job at Indeed.com/Trey. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/Trey. Just go to Indeed.com/Trey and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/Trey. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire?
You need
Indeed.
We are currently, I did the math. I told you I was like, in our journeys abroad, Hawaii, on the road, all this, we're gonna be on a plane for 60 hours.
When it's all
2.5
said and done?
days. Yeah. We've already done about 35 of it. We've spent a day and a half on an airplane.
That's
In
crazy.
the past 2 weeks.
And Rachel had a fever for about 11 of it. The whole flight down there, she was.
Oh.
It's like the only time she's been sick in the 2 years we've been together was just like the 10 hours flying to Australia.
She's been sick?
Just the flight. Like
Okay.
I feel like we got settled into Sydney, and she's like, I feel a lot better now, but it was just the worst.
And you feel fine?
I feel great.
Okay. Wow. I feel great.
I feel great.
Sucks for her.
Yeah, she's doing fine now. Actually, I do feel bad for Rachel because I mean, Australia, obviously, it's a different country, a whole different side of the world, different culture, a lot of new foods. And we're not eating McDonald's and KFC here. Rachel is doing a good job. She's like, hey, if we're in Australia, I want to try new foods. I want to expose myself to new foods. And I think Rachel
New
has
foes.
new foes.
Someone try me.
Rachel has not had a good meal yet, I think. She's like, man, I miss America. She's like, I need some chicken. And I just keep eating like chicken tacos. And I'm having amazing meals because I'm playing it safe.
What has she gotten? Where? I'm happy to help.
Last night, what did she get? We went to a traditional Cantonese place. So maybe that right there was
When
the problem.
in Melbourne.
Yeah, you got to go there. She got something. It was some kind of dumpling in a soup, and she said that it tasted dirty.
Okay, that's never good. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not the tasting
and then
too
under her
well.
breath, I heard her say, "We got to get out of here." So I don't know what that's about.
No, she's on the hunt right now
I
for
feel like-
Hungry Jacks.
There was one down the street. I feel like she maybe liked that chicken sandwich at that burger place when you got those really gross dumplings also.
That's true. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
was a good American chicken sandwich.
Yeah, we went to a burger place. Everyone's getting burgers. I can't have red meat. And so there was a dumpling place next door. And I was like, let's just go with chicken dumplings. Easy. They serve them to me. And the dump, is that the part of the outer layer? They call that the dump, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire dump was pink, which was the worst color for it to be.
I do
Like-
wonder
Looked
what
fleshy.
Flesh pig.
Like a baby's flesh. Oh, it was
So much
gross.
as Tom said. I mean, it looked like raw chicken.
It did, yeah.
You don't want your chicken pink. I gave Rachel, I was like, you want to try it? She's like, I'll try it. And she had half of one. She's like, I can't eat any more of that. I took down 11 of them. So maybe my standards are just way too low
Yeah.
for
Like,
food.
I bought it. Yeah. We've had some good food,
Yeah.
don't you think? What do we? It's a blur. What's been your favorite thing?
Oh, we've had some really good fish.
I'm gonna talk to you. You act like you're like, oh, he's talking to me.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
part of this podcast? Okay. Well, there's a lot of really good seafood around here, which has been great for me.
The Perth rooftop. In fact, there was some really good sushi that night.
Yeah, that was a nice night.
I didn't
Perth?
eat it, but I watched you guys eat it. I was like, I think they're liking
That was
this.
good sushi.
It was good. It was, but yeah, it's Katie and I, Hannah just joined us. Hannah, I don't know if people have met her on the road or we've talked about her. She just does it all for us. So she's out here, which is fun. So she's gonna watch Thomas, and Katie and I are gonna go out tonight.
Tonight's the
Very
night.
Nice.
excited. And I
fancy
spent
dinner.
how much time did I spend?
An hour.
Hour plus researching the absolute best available dinner and cocktail reservation. I think I nailed it.
Wow.
So I'm excited.
Have some good food tonight.
We did have an even fancier reservation for Wednesday night, but then as you now know, I came across the Melbourne. I want to say Melbourne so bad.
Yeah.
Because I
No
feel like
way.
I'm appropriating the culture when I say Melbourne, but I guess that's how I'm supposed to say it.
I can't tell how much R to say. Because sometimes the Australian people use a lot of R, even when it's not there. You're like, hey, are you going to come with us? No. Like, where there wasn't an
Yeah,
R in
where's
there.
the R's?
And then sometimes they
Australia?
take it away. Like they're from Boston.
Because I don't know, like America, when you say, if an Australian came to Louisville and they're like Louisville, and you'd be like, it's Louisville.
Yeah.
Or would you let them? Because we were talking about this earlier. I don't want to be the guy who's like, well, it's technically not carne asada, it's carne asada. And so,
That feels appropriating.
yeah. So
I
is
think-
it Melbourne? Do I do
I
that? It's
think-
Melbourne, or do I say Melbourne? Because you know what, I'm not from here. I'm
I
going to
think
say it how I'm
don't
reading
try
it.
to like put an accent to it, and I think
It's
you're
Melbourne,
safe.
not
yeah.
Melbourne.
Yeah, you can't be Melbourne.
The Australians kind of do that. They leave it really soft at the end.
Melbourne.
Do you need help? You know, and the Americans were always like, you need help.
Oh, Americans are a
Subtle.
little more aggressive.
We are.
I feel like they kind of, every statement is a question at the end. Like, you're coming here on Tuesday, yeah? Whatever. Like there's a question at the end, like to confirm. Like it's a little more passive. I think
Very
you're right.
kind. Everyone's been very
Very
nice.
kind, yes.
We've got to talk about the shows we did 2 shows in Hawaii. We've done 2 in Australia already.
Yeah.
And wild experience. Hawaii treated us great.
Hawaii's nice.
Maui showed us so much love. I mean, obviously they've been through the devastation, so like I think people were fired up to come
Yeah.
laugh, and we had a great time. Donated proceeds to the Maui Strong Foundation. Then we did the whole Honolulu show. Great.
Also, I just got to say, it's easy to say fired up, isn't it? Because you just said it there.
I don't. Did I tell you this?
No.
I was backstage during Jake's set, and I'm kind of like
This is at the Maui show.
At
the Maui show.
Okay.
And we all know what happened in Maui.
Oh.
And Jake he said some joke. Some people shouted. He's like, "Oh, that got you fired up." That's hard to do around here, right? And he kind
I
of
said
kept it
something
moving.
like that.
And I was like, oh. And yeah, I don't think you lost some. I think
I definitely
you
did
probably
not
did what I
mean
did. Where
to.
like he definitely didn't.
I kinda
That's just what he
remember
said.
that.
He didn't mean anything by it. But I was
I remember
like, oh,
thinking
yeah.
like,
was not on purpose.
Okay.
I had my
Ooh, it's
fair
getting
share.
hot in here. You just keep doing it. Like, all right.
Stop.
I don't think
stop.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And you said it right there as well. Maui, I mean, they were fired up. We all
yeah.
know what happened there. They were fired up about that too.
Wow.
Donated the fired up proceeds. Man, I can't stop saying it.
Fire. It was fire. No. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable to see some of it in person. And yeah, we had a great show. Honolulu. Then we came to Perth. Big journey to Perth.
Big
People
journey.
who know Perth, it is all by itself. It's basically if like you took America and it's like 90% of it lived on the East Coast, and then
It's probably
there was
like-
just LA on the
Yeah.
side.
Or like
That's
what
it.
Alaska is to us. It's just like, oh yeah, no one really goes there.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I remember gearing up to do the trip. I'm like, is this going to be worth it? It's going to be 6-hour flight there, 6-hour flight back. The town was amazing. I'm very glad we went.
It was cool.
Beaches were unbelievable.
Beautiful.
And the show was, I'll never be back. I'm just going to be honest. I bombed. I don't know. How'd you feel about your set?
I feel like it was okay. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. At least you had a little bit of a heads up. Like, I mean, right away. Hey, all right. Who knew we'd be performing in Australia and on Mom's Night Out? Something I say every show. That's always when the moms scream. There was no screams. There was no noise. I was like, do we have any moms here? And 4 of them raised their hands. And I was like, all right, this is gonna be a quiet show.
Yeah,
they're
this is-
subdued.
I think it's a combination of, well, one, I think quite a few people were there. I think Person on its own enough. Well, I know they were just trying to fill the room, so there were some people there that probably had no clue who I was.
Yeah.
I think there are some people who maybe just, there's not a lot of shows that come through there. I mean, if you saw the venue, who was coming through, I mean, it's very hard
They
to get
just
to
go
Perth.
to any show that comes through. It's
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's those people out there.
Just excited.
And then a few fans, but it's a different, weird, and it was fine. I also think they're just a very quiet, respectful group.
I went out to dinner with some friends I have in Perth, and they warned me. They're like, ahead of time, just know we're very like laid back here. We went to a Harry Styles concert in Perth, and everyone sat down the entire like 2-hour concert. Like, we're just not excitable people.
I'd
So that
fit
helped
right
a little
in.
bit. Yeah.
When did you?
Great.
Your friend told you that before or after the show?
Before.
Okay, and then you're telling me now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of forgot about that.
Timeline of.
Kind of forgot
Cool,
about that.
cool,
Honestly,
cool.
I'll be honest. I wasn't thinking of it when I was bombing on stage. I wasn't like, oh well, Harry Styles is,
The whole time, yeah, Harry Styles bombs too here. No, so they were kind, and I did get. It is weird when you feel like you just bomb, and I got a bunch of kind DMs, like amazing show, and you're
Yeah.
like, I'm glad. I'm very. All I want is for them to enjoy it, obviously. So
I ran into people on the street afterwards. They're like, "This was so fun for us. This was awesome." Like, well, maybe laugh next time.
Yeah, give me
Just
some.
Show it.
I completely relate to them. You
That's
don't
true.
always have to laugh
I
out
mean,
loud.
my own wife, I'm like, can you give me something?
I find a lot of things really funny, but I just haha.
Rachel doesn't seem like an over, or maybe I'm wrong. Is she a real enthusiastic person? Is she like when we were gearing up for this trip? It's a lot, right? It's a month away with a baby. You're like, how's he gonna do on planes? Time change. These shows in another country, like, and I was just like, is this good? Are you ready for this? She's like, yeah. Like, but this is a lot, right? So like, you really want to do this? And she's like, yes.
I was like,
are you like excited? She's like, I get excited for things like the day of.
And I feel like Rachel is big on like really small things, like a bookstore, and she'll like jump up and down because she found a bookstore,
God,
or like
there's
we're
books.
reading together. Like it's these small little things.
She's trying to read. She's down the street trying to read Korean. She's like, this is such a cute bookstore. I got to figure it out.
Can't understand it. I'm looking up Cantonese translator.
Yeah. No, but you, like you said,
I
some
said,
people are
this
like
is
that.
a
They're
trip
more
of a
chill.
lifetime. This is one of my dream trips. I'm very excited.
That's what she does. Yeah. And you're like, are you though? But she is. So I'm glad. And it has been a blast. And then we had a show in Brisbane, which was a really beautiful, like hot town. And we got to see the river. We have
It
pool
was
at Airbnb. It was nice.
beautiful.
And
Brisbane is an amazing city.
And the show, we were getting up for this show, and my agents had said, like, you're on this kind of like cool venue by the river. It's like a seasonal venue, which I guess I should have clued in. Like, did I think they were building a building for just a
For
few
just a
months?
season?
So
Pop-up.
it was in a tent. So tour manager Tom is like, it's at a tent by the river, which as a comedian, like the building really matters. So you're like, in my head, I'm picturing this rinky dink, like, oh my gosh.
I was
what-
imagining something from like Bass Pro Shops.
Am I about to just bomb? Yeah, but credit to Brisbane. It was on the river, beautiful. Like
awesome.
Like when you go to those really, really fancy like galas outside, they have like a tent
A legit, yes.
with
tent.
sound and lighting, and
Great
nice
sound.
chairs.
Yeah.
And it was a great show. It wasn't so pearthy. They were like high energy.
Yeah, they were.
And it
was
was
a
a great
weekend,
show.
which was nice.
Beautiful outdoors.
You wore shorts.
I wore shorts.
The place was called the Pleasure Dome.
Yeah.
So that was
Pleasure
fun.
Dome. How
It
did
wasn't.
they?
I don't know. It's also a tent. I mean, is dome even appropriate to call it that?
Yeah.
Pleasure Dome,
Right.
though.
Yeah.
This is the home of Bluey.
That's true. Up in Brisbane. It was fun having just an open air tent too. Like I'm pretty sure during my set people just heard a few jokes and like, well, I'll go to that. And they
Definitely.
just walked in.
I definitely saw a couple bypassers like on your set. There's a guy standing out. He's probably just like, I'll check this out for a bit.
It looks like Steve Irwin's son. I'll pop in, see what he's up to. When's he going to bring the snakes out?
Robert Irwin jokes really playing down
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Nice.
Perth show, I did like 3 minutes of Australian jokes. They did pretty well. The rest of the time, it was okay. Then Brisbane show. Now I'm up to like 6-7 minutes of Australia. By the end of this, I'm just only going to be 30 minutes of Australian.
Melbourne
content.
tomorrow night. Sydney this weekend. Sydney needs to be 20 minutes of Robert Irwin. Just bring the house
I
down.
developed the accent, but yeah, it was fun having people walk in. It was like a real life algorithm. Like my face is being put in front of them, and they have to decide like, do I want more of this? So people are like, yeah, I didn't know this guy. He's on my Explore feed. He's on my sidewalk.
Yes.
I'll go in.
We'll check it out. Click. It's good. You gotta bring him in. All algorithms everywhere. About to sneeze. You enjoyed the trip?
I am. Yeah. The show outside was really nice because I got to just kind of sit outside with Thomas. He fell asleep in my arms. It was very pleasant.
Katie's wild and free down under, man. Are you breastfeeding covered? No worries. She's just popping them out, man. In parks.
When it was needed, I just did it. Whatever.
Do they have a word for that here? Because they got a word for everything here. They got a word for it.
Yeah, like in America, it's free the nipple. Down here, everything's cute down here. It's
Yeah.
probably like, bust the nippy. Oh, yeah, she's busted a nippy.
That's exactly what
That's
it would
exactly
be.
what they call it, yeah.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
what I did
exactly
Okay.
what
That's
they
what they
would
call
call
it. And it's nerve-wracking when you're in another country, especially when English speaking one. I'm sure in the UK, similar. There's just subtle differences. Like I'm like, I need the check. They're like, what? And you're like, it's the bill.
Yeah,
It's not the check.
I'd read
I don't
that,
even know what
luckily.
that is.
Yeah.
Our stroller is a pram. I still
A
don't
pram.
know.
A pram. Yes.
But shrimp is prawn. Be careful.
Well, yeah. See, there's all this. So simple as I got a nice steak the other day. And like, how would you like it cooked? And everything you just hesitate. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to say medium rare. But in my head, I thought she was going to be like, did you mean a teensy pinky or something? But medium rare, it played. It worked. But you get nervous, right?
Because if we were in Nepal, I would be like, look, I don't know the culture. I'm not even going to try to speak it. Here, it's like, it's English. We should be able to understand each other.
Yeah.
But there's so much hesitancy every word, especially on stage. I get ready to tell every joke, and I'm like, well, they might not know that. They might not have seen that.
And you really don't know till you know. Because I reviewed my set before, and I was like, oh, that's strange. They don't have this like story here I make fun of or what, And then in real time, or as you've been here a bit, you go through
like,
your
well,
set, and you're like, that word that I was
Turns out my whole
confident in.
set doesn't work.
Oh
here.
yeah, turns out. And that is the worst fear as a comedian when you do new markets. I remember going, because I'm from the South, and we're going to the Northeast, like Connecticut. We did that one of those first comedy clubs in Connecticut, and I was like, and we meet several people there we met. They're like, I'm Vinny, man. How you doing? Forget about it. I'm like,
oh, geez.
I don't.
He doesn't seem like a dog, Mom.
But it worked, right? But it worked there. It worked there. Hawaii, it worked. Perth, it didn't. But Brisbane, it did. Eastern Australia.
What do you think, Auckland? I feel like that culture could be a little bit closer to Perth culture.
Auckland, I don't know. I've never been. Huh. We're going to find out. Every night we're going to find out.
Yeah, every night is kind of a fun.
I don't even know if the crowd tomorrow night will speak English. I haven't seen a white person here yet.
I sent Rachel's not getting food right now. I sent her to get info. I was like, learn the culture, learn the language, recite it back to me. I'm gonna do my whole set in Cantonese.
So yeah, that's a bit of the tour recap thus far. Again, if you're any of our recties, we met a few recties down under, which blows my mind. I've been recognized out and about a couple times.
Have you actually?
Which just
None yet.
So far from home. It's so cool. So get tickets, and we have so many more next year. And very excited for this interview. This one is probably my favorite interview we've done so far. Shay Mooney of Dan and Shay. Of course, you know them. If you don't, come on. Multiple. We recorded this in his home. He was nice enough to host us. He's got Grammys. I mean,
Just
more
laying
awards.
out. He's like, this room's a mess, and I could see that like some song
like
went
on the
quadruple
ground.
platinum.
Yeah.
Like that seems good.
And we
Let's
had
hear a little
great-
rendition of one of their most popular songs.
When I taste tequila.
Okay, so there you go.
And he's a fellow sheltered kid.
Yeah, I think we get into that towards the end.
Get into
so
that.
Stick around for that.
So yes, enjoy this interview with Shay Mooney. Ladies and gentlemen, Shay Mooney on the pod in his beautiful home.
We're in his living room.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man.
We're just talking tour life, everything. You just binged the entire Suits.
I did
all
binge the
9
entire
seasons?
Yeah, it took me about 3 days. I stayed up all day and night watching it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm to the point where I kind of live in the world of Suits. Do you guys do that when you start a show and you're in the world?
Oh,
to the point where you walk out of the hotel and you're like, oh,
yeah.
where am I? And where's Harvey Specter?
You start acting like Harvey
Yeah.
or something.
I got really into Prison Break, and I was like thinking about committing some felonies. Yeah. I was like, I need to get.
I didn't know where you were
someone.
going with that.
Just driving past penitentiaries, you're like that. No,
Those guys are so lucky.
Yeah, I remember that.
You could break out of there.
I fully binged that show too.
That was good.
That was probably in 2011. I think I binged that. I don't think that's when it came out.
Yeah, I feel
but
like
I
it
was
got
fully in
popular
that
later.
world. And then they just brought him back, and then he's alive.
Yeah. Spoiler, but in
Yeah.
season 4 he
Sorry,
very much
guys.
dies. And then
Some
season
guys out there
5,
son of a gun! I was starting that tonight.
I just got done.
You gotta be kidding me.
Have you ever seen Book of Eli?
Yes.
It's my favorite. I told this story recently. My dad, we were just chilling one time recently at a family dinner. My dad's like, "Yeah, I love that Book of Eli. You know, the one with the blind guy." I was like, "Dad, you just ruined it." And he's like defensive. He's like, "I didn't ruin it." Like that's the whole thing.
It's the biggest twist.
Can you believe that guy was dead at the end of Sixth Sense? That was crazy. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I haven't. I haven't seen it. Thank you.
Have you seen
Thank
The Prestige, the movie about the identical twins that no one knows about? Yeah, that was crazy.
Insane.
We're just ruining it. If people haven't seen those movies by now, it's
Right.
kinda
These
hard.
are old
Book of
movies.
Eli. No
Yeah.
one's dying to watch Book of Eli. But the Suits, the Prison Break, it's all kind of the same. Where you know what it is. Prison Break. Every time it'd be like, we're stuck. We can't go over it. We can't go under it. And he'd be like, then we got to go through it. And it just cut. And he'd be like,
He takes his shirt
Like,
off.
they're
There's
going
a
through
map.
it. And then they have there's something comes up where they can't get through it.
Yeah.
And so they try to go under it. Can't go under it. Got to go over it.
What do we do? There's guards during the day, morning and night. And he's like, we go
In the afternoon.
yesterday.
Looks afternoon it is. I feel like I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like Suits and all those shows where a problem is presented, you could tell the storyline before it's even going to start. But I feel like it is kind of the Hallmark movies of the action world. You know what I mean?
It's
Hallmark
like
movies, I'm a sucker, dude. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I don't love Hallmark movies.
It's relaxing because I'm like, and Harvey's gonna solve the case.
He's gonna
I don't
get
need. I don't need to be stressed about this. But you do. You watch enough of these shows. You ever watched All American? That's the
Is that
one.
the football show?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the all black cast.
Yes,
And
yes.
we've watched and we love that. Sucker for that.
Yes.
You know Spencer James.
Spencer James has got
He's
it
gonna
handled.
he's gonna save the day. But
Yep.
you watch stuff on that. Me and my very white wife Katie
Yeah.
are walking around the house. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, girl?" You start.
What's up, baby?
Yeah,
What's she doing?
She's like, "Why are we talking
Hannah.
like this?" Yeah.
She's like, she's not even gonna come in here now.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife's in there like, God, I can't believe he's doing this right now. It's so
Harvey
embarrassing. I'm a sucker for those shows though.
Yeah,
And I feel like Hallmark is just, it's happiness in a bundle, and they just kind of wrap it all. It's all the same story where it's just like some girl's in the city and she's like, I got to get back home. I have to take care of this thing, but my big city job is kind of holding me back from going home. But I guess I'll go try to buy this place,
I just gotta love. I've given up on love. My career is
My dad's company is trying to purchase this land that the pumpkin patch is on.
yeah,
You know, and they're like, oh no. She meets her old
this guy who
flame.
runs it is a total jerk. He's handsome.
sure,
though.
he's attractive.
Yeah.
And he's always she always breaks down on her way into town, and she's like, oh, I can't get my bags. And they're rolling down the hill, and some guy named Brad catches it. He's like, are these yours? And she's
yours?
like, oh.
These bags.
Yeah, and he owns the property.
He owns it. He's
you know?
kind of mean at first. He's like,
Yeah.
I could tell you're not from here.
Yeah, that's just because life has gotten to him, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
He has a daughter. Life is tough.
Right. His wife died, car
Yeah.
crash. So
It was bad, dude.
It was
They don't go into the
he
details,
Saw
but
it.
they
yeah.
kind of allude to it. Like, yeah,
It messed him up.
8 cars,
A lot of drinks.
30 people. Like, whoa. Hold on.
Okay.
This is wild.
They're just repackaging the same thing. They're doing like the Taco Bell of entertainment, where it's like
I'd like
this
to
is
hear that reasoning. I'm so excited to hear what that,
like
what that
this
is.
is the same ingredients, but now it's called the chalupadilla or whatever.
Oh.
It's like it's exactly what you served 2 years
It's
ago.
just-
I'm just now putting this together.
Yeah, it's horizontal instead of vertical.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're-
he's the top. We just ruined Taco Bell for him.
Thanks a lot, dude. I was going to go to Taco Bell tonight and check it out. I'd heard a lot about it.
They just keep coming up. I mean, the smartest people in the world work at Taco Bell. They're
Yes,
always
they
coming out
do.
with stuff.
That McDonald's, they always take away the most popular item.
Yeah.
It's like Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty. There's like a really popular map, and they're like, yeah, you're not going to get that for very long.
Yeah, they gotta
annoying.
keep
And then
you
they
on
bring it
more.
back like 3 years later, and you feel like you really got a gift. They're like, no,
Yeah,
you took it from me. And that's like my kids. Like I take away a toy, and then I get that. That's the reward is them getting it back. Like, well, why did you take it to begin
The
with?
McRib style.
It's
Yeah,
McRib
it's an
style. I'm a
exclusiveness.
McRib parent.
McRib
Yeah,
parenting.
McRib parenting.
That was hard to say. Yeah.
Shay Mooney, McRib parenting.
That's right. That's
yeah,
all it
you
is.
steal that
Yeah,
for your
it's
kids.
called intermittent joy. It's like, you don't get all the good things all the time.
That's how I live my life. Dude.
Yeah.
It's intermittent joy. Just looking forward to the next fun thing you get to do.
That's
you
so
know?
right.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, this place is awesome. The house
Yeah,
is
thanks for
great.
having us.
You live on a pretty good looking golf course. Do you hit that pretty often, or are you gone
I
too
do.
much?
I'm a golf fiend.
Yeah.
I've got a real problem.
When'd
Yeah.
you get into it?
I would say I think it's been 7 years now, maybe
Okay,
6.
what are we playing at?
I'm playing at about a 10 handicap right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I said I should have lied.
No
I
one
would
That
have
was
knows.
the
anything,
perfect
yeah.
example. Like, well, I'm a 3 right now, but like, I should be a scratch.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm like a 10, like probably more like a 14 right now. I haven't got to play a ton, but we've been on the road quite a bit this year.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had the chance. But I try to go on the road. But I tried to get out here, as much as I possibly can. I told myself to justify, when you get into a country club, like, oh, yeah, I'm hitting it 4 times a week.
Yeah, if we
minimum.
don't, we're just
just
wasting
losing
money.
money.
Yeah, and then I forgot. I was like, oh, I'm married and I got 3 kids. Like, that's going to throw a wrench in that pretty
Sure
good.
is.
Yeah. What about you? What's your, you golf?
Yeah, we got into it kind of with touring. We started touring around a lot more 2 or 3 years ago, and yeah, just getting used to the tour life and figuring it out. And we started to realize, like, man, this gets real boring. And like we're like in Greensboro, North Carolina. And you're like, what are we gonna do? And like golf. And so played. I mean, I'll never forget the first time we played on the road was Spokane, and I shot a 68 on the front 9.
Where did you play? I literally played in Spokane 2 days ago.
It was called.
It was like at a public
beautiful.
course.
It was unbelievable. We played. It's like, what did you play? Do you remember the name of it?
I do not. Yeah. Spokane. One of the more memorable
Down
places.
River or something like that.
Yeah.
Down River maybe.
It was
I'm
like, it was
impressed.
the place I played was like a muni course, but it was the most beautiful course that I think I've played on in the States, but it had maybe the worst carts. Like the
Really?
carts weren't making up the hills.
was the first tee box
Super elevated?
super elevated dogleg left?
Yes, it was.
The same course.
Holy
Wow.
cow. Guys.
Yeah.
We are the same.
Rain Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who's in town for a day just somehow ends up at that.
You should go to this place, guys. It's really great.
It's really great.
We don't know what it's
Don't
called
know.
or where it's at, but it's really great. Shout
It
out
was
to that golf
beautiful.
course.
We weren't. I especially wasn't prepared for it. I mean, I couldn't. I remember that first tee shot. You're like, go, and you're like, right here. This is probably my first round of golf, really.
That's
And I
not
was
that's
like-
not ideal.
I
have
at
something
least
like
hit
that.
it like 180 yards, like kind of sliced, but it's like, I'm at the level where I could easily just whiff it or hit it 10
Yeah.
yards. I was like, okay, I'll take it. But that course ate me up, and then we were so dumb. Me, him, and another guy on the road with us never golfed at the turn after 9 holes. We like sat down for lunch. And just like, oh, let's get some food. And we were just chatting.
Having a great time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is okay.
Mine was kind of hot, so I like waited a while to eat mine too. I was like, I'll just kind of cut it
We
up and wait.
took our time, and we went back out like, let's play the rest. And like, our cart's gone, everything. We're like pissed. We're like, what are you guys doing? And
What kind of joints you running around here?
they were not patient at all with us. They're like, what in the world are you guys doing? You've like 6 groups have passed you, and they like reluctantly gave us our stuff back and let us play, but that was
That's pretty solid. They need maybe an intermission in golf. Like when you're making a day of it, have 2 different tee times. Like, well, we're actually doing the intermission style. So then you kind of have 2 different tee times.
like
Like you
that.
tee off in the morning.
If it is a
at
guy's
9.
day.
Yeah.
9 nice few hour.
See, the golf course that I'm opening, It's going to be like that.
Oh, I like that.
Intermission.
Yeah. I haven't opened it yet, but just in case. You got to throw things out there. I think
For sure.
I think the house just fell down.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was my phone.
That was
Okay,
your
we're
phone.
good.
You're good.
It's not
No,
a
I
big
like
deal, guys.
that.
It's fine. Things are falling apart around
But
us.
no, I feel that. I was getting into golf and then became a dad, and it's just like, yeah, I'm going to come back off the road and like I'm going to go hit the range.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, babe, I know I've been gone a week, but I think you know what's happening. And she's like, I think you know that's not going to happen.
yeah.
But the best case scenario is I'm trying to get like my oldest into golf, which I've
Then
been
you're like-
unsuccessful so far.
He's not really interested?
He's not really interested in it, but like,
Wow.
you know, he's more of a a crystal shop kind of guy. And before you draw conclusions on what that means, I'm actually just gonna leave it there. So that's a crystal shop.
Crystal shop.
It's on 8th and yeah. No, but he started this whole deal, and I think it was my wife's doing. Actually, she introduced him when we went back to Arkansas. Both of our families are from Arkansas, but her family is kind of on the opposite end of Arkansas, on the worst side. But she grew up on this, big farm, and we started. I thought that was my wife calling me right now, and I was gonna have a fit.
Hey, we're not the worst side.
You know I'm doing something important. But she started she showed Asher that you could crack open a rock, and some of the rocks have like crystals in them, or diamonds as they like to call them. And so he really latched onto that. You got to really be careful with what you introduce your kids
Be careful
to.
what you show the kids.
I mean, it can latch on, and it's the most important thing in his life right now. To the point where he
hilarious.
started a crystal shop at school, which I try not to say out loud.
Yeah.
Because parents, judgmental parents,
Right.
he's moving crystals at school, and you can't say that. You can't say that.
Moving
I'm super
crystals,
proud of
baby.
him. Yeah, he's moving rock real good.
Yeah, the kids.
He owns
got
a
a
monopoly on the west side of town.
Other kids
Yeah.
are trying to do rock, but it's not as good as his
It's
rock.
not even
No,
close to
he's-
his rock. He has the best rock in town. I
It's a
would
little
say.
bluish tint to
Yeah,
it. Oh,
and when
man.
he cracks it open, great. It has a great crack to it.
Yeah, dude.
Can we say crack?
Yeah,
okay.
crack,
Cool. I was
crystal.
just making sure.
Love
But he
that.
he fully latched onto that. He has started crystal shop at school, and so they trade and do the whole deal at school, and it's his whole life.
Wow.
He set up a crystal shop here in our driveway the other day. Some pretty great pictures from that. It was also kind of sad because people are pretty reluctant to stop with a giant sign in the front yard that says "Crystal Shop" and
Shop.
a kid.
Yeah,
they're
they're like,
interested when
yeah.
it says "Crystal Shop," but
Classic.
then they see the child.
see
They're
the
like,
kids
"This
are
probably
torn.
isn't what I think it is."
Does he think the crystals have powers, or he just he thinks
Well, they
they're
do,
cool
Trey.
looking?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They
Does he
do.
know? Does he realize they have powers?
Yeah, he
That's what I
knows.
meant to
Yeah, he
say.
knows. He's into it. I don't know what he thinks they're diamonds, and so and he's real convinced. So he's probably gonna see this. So we don't want to go into detail. He's right. There are
Yeah,
powers.
there are powers.
But he finds gold, and there's gold in them. It's a whole deal. So it's the only thing in his life that he cares about right now. So golf is kind of on the back burner.
Yeah, we got to.
I'm trying to make him watch golf.
Okay.
Which, that
That's not
shouldn't have been where I
nearly-
started. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I took him out one time.
He just he's like, I love golf. He keeps taking. He's like, I want a hole 12. It's like there's a bunch of rocks over there.
Yeah, I did. I took him golfing one time, and it was with my neighbor Bill. And Bill's a character. He's just he's a caricature, and it was the best time because we went out with him and his daughter, and she's getting into golf, and I was like, this is perfect. It'll introduce his friend Ella's gonna be playing. This is gonna be great. And then we get to hole 3, and Asher's like, this is not working out for me. He's running all over the place, and then there was sand, and after the round. We spent a lot of time in the sand.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you guys, and we call it the beach. That was Bill's fun way of saying the beach.
Yeah.
And when my wife asked how it went, well, we spent quite a bit of time at the beach. So that was, that was a little rude of him, but I don't know. We'll see what happens one day. That's best case scenario.
Yeah. I was outside while we were setting up. I went back outside to pet your dogs again.
Yes.
And I was borderline laying down and going crazy with your dogs, and people drove by and honked. And I wonder if they thought it was the crystal shop was open for business.
They
again or
do.
something.
It's become pretty big.
Yeah.
I don't want to stress that really a lot because
I
there's too
waved
many
them
people
in.
showing up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on in, guys. It's open in about 20 minutes.
The
I don't think
6-year-old's
they could
worth
tell who I was.
150 grand.
Yeah, he's
actually.
made
It's-
quite a bit of money. He
It's-
bought this home.
Yeah.
This is not ours. Yeah,
His name's on the mortgage.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow, that's so funny. Yeah, you gotta be careful what you show them, I guess. I mean,
You do.
I just have a 7-month-old, and we just started doing baby books. I guess my wife's she's like, we gotta do a bedtime routine. This guy doesn't know what's going on, but so I just skim them.
Yeah.
But
What's your
there's-
go-to book?
That's what I was saying, because there's been a couple I've opened and read half of, and I was like, donate this book.
Yeah.
If he gets hooked on this book and I've got to read this 300 times,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose it. So, I don't mind some classic Seuss.
Yeah.
You
Classic
know,
Seuss
sorry,
is good.
no offense to anyone out there, any listeners.
Yeah, I forgot they canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's I actually got some cool books like what was the one I really liked that I'm excited for him to get older and do this. Jimmy Kimmel wrote one.
Yes.
Silly Goose.
Yes.
You have that one?
We do have that one.
That one's fun.
That one is a really good one. He also, I think maybe Jimmy Fallon has one
Okay.
as well called Dada.
Okay, I'll check
Big
that
fan
one
of
out.
Dada. That's for young kids. I had trouble with it, but it's supposed to be for younger kids.
Yes.
It seems like there's a lot of words in there that kids shouldn't be.
No. Does your kids get gifts from people where you're like, what am I going to do with this? Because this gift's obviously not for him for 5 years. People give me, I got the whole set of Narnia.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm
Can't-
gonna enjoy
where do
this.
I put this for 6 years.
Yeah.
Until
Thanks a
I
lot.
can-
I sent him that gift.
It's like when
wow.
he turns 10, they're like, here's
Don't
a car.
know what to say.
Yeah.
Narnia. First of all, that's a solid gift.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
wish
that's
that
his
someone
go-to
was
for
giving
every
me.
2-year-old birthday party. Oh, no.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know. Like, it is interesting when you're getting a kid a gift because you don't really know. And especially like in Nashville, like it's just such a thing. Like, gifts are just like people would be given gifts that like my parents, that would have been the main gift.
Right.
And they're just dropping it off nonchalant. Like, hey, you probably already have this, but like, here's a 400 piece Hot Wheels set that you guys probably wouldn't enjoy. And it's massive. I'm like, this was the only thing I played with as a kid. This is the greatest gift. They're handing off like, does he have a Switch? We brought one. We had a couple extra.
Here's like
You're
a
"What are
baby
these
Peloton.
kids?"
I don't know. You
Yeah.
probably
Are you guys
have one.
into like, we bought you guys a remodel? I hope it's not too much. A remodel, a home remodel. I mean, they're bringing and Nashville has gotten out of control. I don't know if you're kind of in tune with the whole scene of birthday parties in Nashville, but it's a real thing. And I don't know
Kids' birthday parties.
Kids' birthday parties.
What's the
you would
craziest one
think?
you've been
I mean,
to?
it used to as like Sweet 16. That show. It's that, but it's not for 16. It's like 6.5 months. And they do like he's a year and a half, so we had to have like a half birthday
balloons
party.
everywhere.
I'm talking about the most extravagant parties I've ever been to, and we get invited to them like literally probably once a week. I would say.
Really?
They're insane. We're starting to get Katie. She's like about to get on flights to go to kids' birthday parties. I'm like, you don't.
cow.
There's no way. We
When
don't.
when it comes to the plane ticket, like, hey, if you guys can make it, we got you. That's a part of the gift basket. Like, it is in Tulum.
Yeah.
It is in
It is
Tulum,
in
so if you guys
Tulum.
can make it. And no kids, please. It's like, is this even, what's happening?
Yeah,
This
a no
isn't even
kids
a party.
party.
Yeah.
Just come, offer your wishes from afar.
A no kids birthday party, that is, I think we're like this close. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like the last one that I went to, this is no joke. I went to this party and there was probably like 120 kids, which I've never even met 120 people in my life
that's a
whole
until that
school.
party. And you show up and the presents are crazy. It's like little tykes. There's like, the electric vehicles, those are just flying out of the place. It looks like a dealership of little tykes. And you're like, this is unbelievable. And you get there, they probably spent, $100,000 on this party, and you're just like, this is wild. And you show up, they give you gift baskets. They got like iPods in there. It's like, what are these people just throwing away money? It was incredible. And I do try to go for the gifts.
Right.
Because
I
they
mean,
do have gifts.
it's
I mean,
cool
let's
to
be
be there,
honest.
but
I do go to them. But it's getting out of
And
control.
what time was the party?
It was like, I want to say it was like 4:30.
Right. They
Yeah.
just like come over it.
Open bar, by the way. That's not a lie.
Wow.
Open bar. Yeah.
Jeez, who are these people?
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly who they are and where their address is.
Yeah.
It's wild, dude. They're getting out of control, and it's become a competition now where it's like if you go, and you go to this birthday party, it's like, hey, like Sarah's having this. Well, Brixton, you can better believe, is going to have an absolute rager.
Yeah, we got
for his
one
party.
up, right.
Like, oh, you guys had an open bar. Well, we bought a distillery for the party. So.
Yeah,
and all the kids are going to kind of, it'll be really fun. They're investing in this.
Shay, would you sing at it?
Yeah.
How about
They're
that?
like, hey, we have our budget's $900,000. I don't know if we can work with that. If you can just do 2 songs, I'm like, yeah. I'm actually exclusively only doing birthday parties now. Yeah, but 3 and under.
3 and
those
under.
really pay.
Yeah,
because
those
by 5 you realize like I don't think we could spend $3 million in 3 years.
Sure.
After
So,
that, it kind of dwindles
like
out. Like
1,
maybe Chuck E.
2.
Cheese is fine. Maybe that's okay.
You got to get in early.
There's
That's
my
smart.
wife. She was trying to sneak in.
That's smart. There she
You
is.
doing all right, babe? You're on
What's
camera.
up?
Everybody can see you. You look good. Any
Hi.
comments, questions, concerns?
Did you throw your kids a birthday party?
It's out of control.
You got your baby's 7 months old. Are you?
Don't be telling them our
right.
secrets. We had our
Oh.
birthday. She's like, I was like, oh, we had it at McDonald's. Well, we did have it at McDonald's.
Nice,
guys.
respect.
Right. We don't think we're better than everybody
Yeah.
else, you know. Love you.
What's that? Yeah, I've been to some of these where they're like, it's from 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Like 8. I'm like, just like set an alarm and get over there. I'm not. It's too early. Do a regular party time.
Yeah.
It is, especially that's like right in the middle of nap time.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
No.
You can't do that. You got to have a good what we did last time. We did do one big birthday party because all of our kids' birthdays are literally in the same couple months, and so we did one joined birthday party, and we rented out like the jump zone, like the trampoline park, and had all their friends over there. That was a good time.
That's pretty fun.
And the next time we learned our lesson. I'll never do that again. It was absolute chaos. Kids like jumping off. I don't know what kind of insurance policy they have there, but it must be pretty good.
Yeah, umbrella
Because kids are
policy
like,
probably.
I mean, there's got to be bones broken. Kids are jumping off the ceiling. This one had like a ride, like you strapped in and you like, what is that called when you do a zip line?
Zip line.
There was a zip line that went all the way through the building. It was crazy.
That's cool. Are you a fan of the trampoline parks?
You know, I used to be until I went to them, and then I wasn't as much.
Yeah.
And especially like when you're an adult, I did like when I was younger, I did gymnastics or tumbling as we call it because I wanted to learn how to do a backflip. I did that for like 6 years, and so I was pretty good on a trampoline. And now that I'm 31, it's not the same, and I can't do the things that I think I can. And the last time I went, I almost broke my femur. It was not an ideal scenario
For sure.
because you have all these ideas in your head. You're like, yeah, I can do that. And
Especially if
can't.
you have the confidence of a former gymnast.
Yes.
You
A former
feel-
gymnast.
you feel like you can
I'd like
do
to be
more.
known as that. Like,
Yes.
which he's actually a former gymnast.
That's what
Former
this
gymnast.
episode title is. Like, we had guest Shay Mooney,
Yeah. Former gymnast.
former gymnast, on the podcast.
Yeah.
Current dad, former
Current
gymnast.
dad, former gymnast.
That's what I'd like to do. And actually, I speaking of gymnasts, I had Sean Johnson was at she was at the birthday party that I was talking about. I was
Nice.
just thinking about that, and I
She flip
remember because they had a
around or-
trampoline, and I think she did some tricks. It was
Yeah, I,
pretty
mean,
cool.
I feel like if I ever saw Sean Johnson, former Olympic gold medalist, I'd want her to do some tricks.
yeah, yeah.
I'd
I mean,
boss
yeah.
her around.
Do you feel like people probably come up to you and they're like, "Would you sing for us?"
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if people always come up to her like, "What?
Can you do the thing? Yeah.
They
one
give her like
full,
a skinny
standing
piece
full,
of
please.
something. Like, can you balance on this?
Balance on it.
I'd love to see that.
How confident do you feel like when you? That's an interesting thing to think about. If it was like Sean Johnson, you would want her to see her do a flip. Like, what would you feel? I feel like that would be cool for her to do, where it wouldn't be like
trick.
it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
feel like if somebody comes up and like, hey, sing, like, it's like a little bit different where it's just like, well, come to a show and I would love to do it. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
'cause-
it's going to be dumb. You're not going to like it. I'm going to be the guy at the party with the guitar. Everyone's uncomfortable afterwards.
That's so
There's no
true.
transition.
Even if it's great singing, or people come up, tell a joke, even if it might be a funny joke, it's just still awkward for everyone.
It's like do the thing that you do on the road. It's like it's just not you can't do
Yeah,
that.
no one's gonna feel awkward if she backflips on the back of this couch.
Yeah, it'll
They'll
be
like,
phenomenal.
That was
And
pretty
we'll
cool.
talk about it for quite
Yeah.
a lot of time.
Like-
But what else would you like? Comedian, same kind of deal. Like tell a joke. That's just weird.
It's never
No.
worked.
Who else would be like acceptable though?
I think a magician. Like if
Yeah.
David Blaine's at that birthday party,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I'm having a bad time, I was like, make me disappear. Can you
Yeah.
just like get me out of here?
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you transport me somewhere else?
I'd be like, yeah. I would
Levitation.
use that opportunity to just leave the party.
Yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
be telling everyone later like. I can't believe David Blaine was at that party. He was there?
He was there?
Yeah, dude.
He made
and
us
I
both
was
disappear.
too. And then I wasn't. He's incredible. I don't know how he did it. One thing I knew I was there at the party. Next thing I knew I was in my bed.
Yeah.
And it was nuts.
Every kid's party, you just convince everyone like you got David Blaine was there.
I'm
He
the
has
only one
this-
who saw
Did you
David
guys
Blaine
see the
again.
magician
Yeah.
at the party? I didn't, dude. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah. He has an ice pick through his forearm.
He made me
See that?
disappear. Have you ever been to like seen any crazy like magic trick like that like in real life?
I
I've been
went
to Branson.
Branson. You know Branson? Oh, you
I
know
do
Branson.
know Branson. Oh, I know Branson.
I love
How's the
Branson.
magic
I
there?
love it.
Pretty good?
It's a decent magic scene.
I went to a Vegas magic show.
Okay,
which
well, it's not
was it's not that.
No.
I wouldn't say it's that. It's
No.
not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to
have you been to Vegas? Yeah, it's not like that at all. Yeah.
Well, I went when I was like 9. You talk about being so sheltered that my parents are even too sheltered. They're like, we're going to go out to Disneyland in California. And on the way there, we're going to stop in Vegas, show the kids magic.
Some magic.
How
yeah.
cool. What a kid-friendly event.
Some
I'm walking
crystal
down the
magic.
strip.
They got some crystal shots.
yeah.
Yeah, Vegas.
Walking down the strip. I mean, my 8-year-old brain, I was just like, oh my God, where are we? I was traumatized. And then I mean, the magic show was impressive. He like
He made
cut a
your
girl in
sins
half.
disappear.
thing.
Yeah, he made It was just church.
We went to that's how sheltered I was. We went to Vegas, but to visit a church. They've got a great it's a great pastor there.
Yeah.
He's a man of the people.
Yep.
He's really really good.
You just went to like a Pentecostal church. Like, do you enjoy the magic show? Like, yeah.
Snake
I liked
charmers.
it, dude. Laying people out. That's great. I grew up Assembly of God, so kind of similar.
Okay.
We weren't as strict.
You got in
as
there.
the,
Where'd you
as
grow
the
up?
Costals. Natural Dam, Arkansas. There's like 300 people there.
What part of Arkansas is that?
It's kind of northwest.
That's a good
Okay.
part.
Pretty
So
close to like it was like
action.
an hour south of the college, like Fayetteville.
Okay.
Razorback country.
Yeah, like Bentonville
Oh.
area.
Walmart land.
Yep.
Yeah, we
I
had
love
great
Northwest Arkansas.
Walmarts.
Yeah.
Like the best you've ever seen.
Oh, I believe it.
It's like you go into a town that has 1,000 people and you're like passing by, just desolation. But then there's like a $40 million Walmart and you're like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
this is Walmart country.
Wow.
They even had those little mini marketplaces. Like, I don't know if you've seen those, like Walmart marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
Real
The grocery
nice.
stores, yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, you don't want to walk to the back to get milk? We're going to open a store for you guys for the 60 and ups.
Next level.
Yeah. You can go right in
60
the
and
front, you know? But Dollar General beat them out, so they closed those down.
Is that what
Yeah, they had a
happened?
monopoly on
Dang.
it. Yeah, Dollar General is doing a little bit better than you'd think in these small places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife's from a small town. They don't have a single stoplight in the whole county. She's from Iowa, so it's just nothing but farmland. But they got their first like
And
business.
crystals.
What do you say?
Lots of crystals.
Well, yeah, there's a good crystal. It's a good
Market.
crystal city.
It's a good.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it's a good crystal scene there. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you can say that. A good crystal scene.
But they only have 2 businesses in the whole county, and it's a Casey's, and they just opened up a Dollar General.
Yeah.
And it's like they
Dollar
just,
General,
they just
dude,
make money.
they're absolutely killing it. Like they
Yeah.
go into these little towns. Like it's like, oh, here's like a big city. Find the smaller one.
Yeah.
And let's put 70 instead of putting one big Dollar General. They put 70 around in like the the outskirts of the
Yeah.
major city.
It works.
And they just clean up.
Makes
Dollar
sense.
General,
Amazing.
Sonics.
Sonics are another one. Sonics.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always Sonics and Pizza Huts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
What was the local? So where did you grew up in Kansas City?
I grew up in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've been in Kansas City for like 8 years now. Went to Oklahoma State. I grew up outside of Oklahoma City.
Okay.
We had a Walmart neighborhood market.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
we were
close. I mean, I
doing
was
it.
right on the border of Oklahoma. We used to go to
Right.
Oklahoma City quite a bit. It's like probably 3 hours.
Yeah.
From me.
Yeah, I've got family in Northwest Arkansas. I love it there.
We might be related. There's a good chance.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a great chance.
Like a really good chance.
Yeah.
a little better than you
No.
probably think.
No, I know, right? But yeah, Oklahoma, born and raised, man. It's a good spot.
awesome.
I remember the Walmart Supercenter went in our town.
Yeah.
Big drama because they're like, whoa, it's gonna bring a lot of riffraff in here, but
Riffraff.
that's what people.
100%.
Yeah, that's what the good white people say. Whoa, whoa.
I wonder what the riffraff.
The riffraff
Riffraff
coming
in the
in
parking
here.
lot.
Riffraff that's been one of the phrases that I feel like has stood the test of time.
It has.
It's inoffensive,
Right.
You know, and it's like it's riffraff. It's
it
like what?
morphs.
We're not talking about you, whoever you think you are. We're probably not talking about you. We're
It's
talking about
always
riffraff.
okay to say.
Yeah, not the
Riffraff's
rapper Riffraff, but
Yeah.
Right. Shout
yeah.
out to him.
Shout out
Good,
Riffraff.
good friend of yours.
Good buddy of mine. Actually, we followed each other on Instagram for a while.
Nice.
I've never met him. Yeah, I think we are good friends though, and I tell
believe
people
that.
that quite a bit. So,
I think you should
Yeah.
help your street cred. All
absolutely.
these parties.
What's a game where no one wins, Katie? In life,
Form
marriage.
of Chinese checker. No.
The Chinese finger trap.
Chinese finger trap.
That's a
Final
game.
answer.
No, it's the waiting game is what I was looking for.
Shoot.
No one likes waiting around, especially when it comes to hiring. You want to find great talent fast, and you need to find them first with Indeed. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. I've used Indeed to find great talent. It was amazing. They streamline hiring. They have powerful tools that they're instant match. With over 80% of employers reporting that they got quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements.
Could I hire someone to take videos of me?
Yep.
Could I use Instant Match to
To a
find an
certain-
assistant?
with certain like parameters. Also, yes.
Could I? Okay, great.
Yep.
That answers that.
You can join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring tool, delivering 4 times more hires than all their job sites combined. Are you kidding me? Katie, tell them the offer.
Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Trey. Stop copying me. That was /Trey.
Offer good for a limited time.
Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/Trey. Just go to Indeed.com/Trey and support the show by saying you heard about it on the podcast. Indeed.com/Trey. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need Indeed. I don't look anything like that.
Do you have 3 kids? Do you have
Yeah.
nieces and nephews?
I have nieces and nephew. I have nieces and nephew.
Nieces and nephews?
That's the answer. I have my oldest sister Erica. She has 3 kids, and I think they're like 10, 9, and one is like Asher's age, about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So they're good buddies. And we've been starting to spend like summers back there.
That's
in
fun.
Arkansas. So that's been really fun. I
That's
grew up on a
cool.
big
Oh,
farm.
they're still
and
in
stuff.
Arkansas? Oh,
They're
that's
still in there.
awesome.
Still doing it. you
Still
know?
doing
Yeah,
it.
I got
Still
out.
doing
They
it.
didn't, they still
Oh, your
stayed there.
family's farming family.
Yes,
Oh,
farming
cool.
family.
Where are they farming?
Grew up milking cows, the whole deal. It wasn't like for income. If
Just
it
for
was,
fun.
we'd be pretty bad at it.
Yeah.
My mom, she loves animals, but like we weren't making any money at it. She would like give it away. Like my mom is the sweetest woman you've ever met, and like she's the closest that anyone's ever gotten to like meeting Jesus. If you met Cindy Mooney, you'd be like, I think I maybe have met him. You know what I mean?
Sure.
She's that kind of woman, and she gives it everything away. She's always giving eggs and stuff away, like to the neighbors. It's a whole deal. So we'd be a pretty bad business. But we did have chickens, goats. We had 60 goats at one point.
It's good.
That was a thing, and they were trained. She bought them from like this guy, and my dad was so mad because he was never been an animal guy. He is now, but he was never an animal guy. And she comes home one day. I was probably in like, I don't know, 9th grade, and she was like, Rick, I'm gonna go look at these. This guy has some goats for sale. And when you say like this guy has some goats for sale, like my dad's probably thinking like maybe 2 to 3 goats. Mm-hmm. He had 60 for sale, and my mom like went over there to look, and she bought all of them. And they were trained. When you said in goats, they would just sprint around the pasture, and it was a whole scene. And that was like a trick.
Well, that's
why
a
you gotta
great
buy all
purchase.
60.
It was
a great
pretty
purchase,
sick.
yeah.
And they had like hundreds of acres. So like they would hold up in like a different part of like, the backfield, the back 40 as we'd call it. And then you just holler at them and they just come sprinting. It was a really good party trick.
Yeah, that's
when I
right.
had people over from the city.
Yeah. Did you ever have to mow the lawn?
Well, not in the pasture.
Right.
They straight up just munched on it,
Boom. That's all you need.
That's a weird thing to
Yeah,
say.
they just
in
munch,
space.
bro.
Yeah, they just munched on it. Anyways, thank you guys for
Thank you
checking
guys,
out the
yeah.
podcast. We appreciate it. It was a wild party trick.
Did
But
they
it
know
was a
any
good
other
time.
tricks, or did they just know how to run around?
There was one. His name was Big Jim. He was the Billy Goat. I was dead serious. And dude, when I say like as tall as that tripod, that goat was like a little bit taller than that tripod.
Okay, so
He
he's
was
Big
the
Jim.
alpha, yeah.
Yeah. And it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. He was the biggest goat ever. And if you slapped him on the butt, he would chase after you to the point of like until
like, "What- hey, watch
he
what you're
butted
doing."
you. Like, and it was hard. It was aggressive. And so I would just like dare my friends like, you got to slap him like it's a
go
dare.
mess with Big Jim.
And they would do it. And like they would get just railroaded. Like you see those like rodeo
Jeez.
cowboys, like the
Yeah,
viral
just getting
videos of like
bucked in the air.
getting bucked. It was a little like that. It was pretty
Man,
crazy.
Big-
Had a
is
lot
Big
of
Jim still
aggressive
around?
animals. Big Jim is not alive. Yeah, he is dead.
He got
Dang.
slapped for the last time.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Well,
the wrong
yeah.
guy slapped him. Yeah. Big Bob came over and
Big
he
Bob.
slapped him.
Hey, what? Hold
He
on.
didn't. He turned around and he's like, "Oh, sorry, Bob." Yeah, we had a couple like interesting animals. One, we had a goat that we kind of saved. I don't remember the story, but I just remember we saved him somehow. He was a rescue, and his name was
Rescue goat.
Lucky, and he had like the most distinct horseshoe on the side, like even to the point where like it's got the horseshoe, but then it even had like the side thing. It looked exactly like a horseshoe. So we called him Lucky, and he thought he was a cow, full blown cow. Like the goats would stay in their pasture, and he was with the cattle, and he nursed on this mama cow that had lost her baby, and he would just go in there and just take care of it. And it was amazing because I used to have to milk her, because if you don't milk, then they'll get mastitis. And we all know what mastitis is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my mom had it.
You get it. So you had it.
My
Yeah,
wife
no,
got
it's
it in her udders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a thing. So you have to milk them, or they or they'll get sick. And so we would have old Lucky really just get in there, and in like a minute, I mean, he would have the whole
Yeah.
thing.
You ever
That's,
drained?
man, I never
I
thought
didn't-
of that. I know Katie, we should have got a goat for Katie.
Yeah.
She kept getting it, man.
I know a great goat farm that you
Yeah,
can get
okay,
it from.
good. Give me in touch
for
with your
these
mom.
specific things.
Right.
Yeah.
Just rare instances where you're an
Yeah.
oversupplier.
It's not as rare as you'd think.
Yeah.
There's a whole
no.
community.
Right.
It's a
I didn't know you could cross milk like that. I didn't know goats could drink cow's milk or
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know if you're
I don't know if
supposed
anyone.
to. Yeah. That's,
They did amazing things
lucky.
down there.
Incest isn't supposed to be a thing, but that happens.
Arkansas found a way.
A lot of things go wrong in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was an interesting experience. So growing up on a farm, it definitely because all my friends, I went to school in Fort Smith, which was a bigger city, probably 100,000 people or something. But I went to a small private school, and I remember I didn't think it was that weird that I grew up in the country until we had a field trip to my house. They're like, "Hey, we're gonna go see how the other side lives."
Right.
I was like, "Oh yeah,
Guys,
no,
we got
that'd be
this
fun."
one kid. We don't know how he's affording this private school, but we gotta go see
You
what's
have
going
to
on
go
here.
see.
You guys got to see this. It is ridiculous. They're living they're kind of in a house, but it's weird.
Look at his bed.
Yeah.
The
Making
barn's
fun of you.
bigger
Lay
than
on it. Could you sleep on it? Yeah.
all the kids are trying on my bed. Oh my god, can you imagine? Can you imagine living here and being so poor and gross?
Oh man.
But
They
it was
came
a
back.
whole thing. And when I say I thought at that point in my life, there was the first field trip we had was actually my oldest sister had a field trip to our house, and I was so nervous because I had a huge crush on this girl Megan. Shout out Megan. She was 5 years older than me, and I was like, she's it. I was I think I was in 4th grade or something, and so they came over. And I remember just walking out, and they had these little things set up. Hey, can you set up some booths, to show
Yeah, it was
to
a
show the
carnival.
thing. Yeah, it was literally like a carnival. They
Hey,
had
Shay,
booths.
some high schoolers are gonna come over. Do you mind guessing their weight?
Yeah,
Does that
I
work?
was great at it. Yeah, they'd get on there. I'm too big, too small.
Big Jim.
But we brought the cow out there, and we had they had a lemonade stand, stuff from the garden, and I'm this is just my life, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, It's
not a spectacle.
we get to water the garden. This is awesome. I'm yeah, it's not as fun when you have to do it at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And so they had a cow out there to milk. I just remember feeling like an absolute stud walking out there because I
got it.
If you ever want to get a good forearm workout, that's the one you need to do. Milking cows is the greatest thing you can do. And I could milk a gallon in about a minute. And that's on God, dude.
Yeah.
That's on God.
impressive.
You were squeezing.
And it was crazy. I just get in there and just be flowing, just in my. And I remember just literally in this motion, and I'd just be looking at Megan and just be just being feeling
don't have to look,
legitimately
yeah.
an absolute stud.
Yeah.
Never have felt that way before that or since.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. No award could have
Always
ever touched
chasing
that
that.
feeling. I've been
Always
chasing that
chasing it.
high since that day, and it was the greatest thing. And I remember her leaning over. She was like, "You're so good at that." And I was like, "This whole thing, dude."
Megan, stop it. Yeah.
Double time, I'm
Yeah.
"Oh well, this is a little
Bring in
quicker."
another one. Yeah.
This whole thing, dude. Just milk splashing everywhere. It's just filling up. They're grabbing gallons. Look at him go. That's
Yeah.
how it went in my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Megan, was she your first crush?
I don't think so. I don't
Who's your
think
first
so.
crush? You remember?
Probably one of
Remember
those
your-
cows.
One of those.
I
You
do
your
remember.
first
Yeah,
crush?
I remember my first crush ever. I think was probably I'm sure there was some at church, when you're young. But the first one, woman that I was obsessed. I said woman. She was 48. But it was this girl named Julia, and I remember I was in 5th grade and she was in 6th grade, and I had it bad. I had it real bad. And it's so funny because you go back and you look at your crushes, and she looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that people watch this.
That's what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, there's
And
really,
that she's a real
she's
human
beautiful.
and
Yeah.
definitely
She's-
knows there's
it's
only
funny.
14 people in my school. But we're not even going to talk about it. Julia's a great girl. But I was sitting there and going through back.
It's crazy.
real
You go
people
back and you
listen.
look.
I'm
and you
literally
realize,
thinking about Julia right
oh, they
now.
were
I had the
more
biggest
beautiful
crush.
than I remembered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even more pretty.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, but it was crazy. Dude. I was fully obsessed. There was a. I'm just remembering this for the very first time. I was fully in love with her to the point where I think I would write her notes and stuff like that. And she was dating this other kid at the time, and it just devastated me, wrecked my world. And that's when I wrote. That's when I wrote. Really, our first hit was there. In the 4th grade, it's called Tequila.
So Tequila.
Didn't even write that song. Yeah. It was it was my first heartbreak. But my first big heartbreak was this girl Savannah, and I met her in the 5th grade.
It's always Savannah.
It was always a Savannah. We name dropped her in a song in this album.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife knows about it. I was 16. But that was my first heartbreak. I met her in 5th grade.
Dang.
And we ended up she left our school, came back, and I was dating this girl Brandy at the time.
Oh,
She
you
came
gotta
back to
watch out
school.
for Brandy.
Yeah, I broke up with
That's a
Brandy
crazy
the
name,
next
yeah.
day. But what a horrible move because
Yeah.
she came back to school and I was like, "Yeah, Brandy, look, I know that we've been dating for a couple of days now, but Savannah's back, and
So,
you know
yeah,
that
you
means."
you know what that means.
Yeah, it was like Harvey Specter. It was
Yeah.
what's the redhead's name?
Donna.
It was like Donna. You know, it's just like, look, you know what's gonna happen.
Donna,
here.
you just don't.
Look, I
don't do
enjoyed
this,
it.
Donna.
I enjoyed it, but you know, Donna's my girl. It was a good thing. I forgot what we were even talking about. I was
No,
just thinking about it.
Savannah's in the album. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, Savannah's
There's
on
always
the-
a Savannah. My first crush, dude. First grade. I was ahead of my time. Stephanie.
Ooh,
And she.
Big Steph.
Ooh, she was a cutie. And we had in PE class, we did foot races. And I won out of the boys. And
Okay,
she won out of the girls. So we were like, oh, how fun. Let's have the fastest guy in girl race.
Title IX.
Right. And
Yeah.
this is back in the day, and so I was furious. Like, why? She's below me. Why would I do? No, I'm kidding. So we raced, and I'm like, oh, fun. Yeah, I can beat a girl.
We're not allowed to be in the same room right now.
Yeah,
What's
what?
happening?
This isn't how she beats me.
Oh no.
This is devastating. I might have told this on our podcast before.
I don't remember this.
You don't? Okay,
No.
great. And when you know it, years later, in like high school, it's some kind of combo like this. We're like first crush. I hadn't thought about it in a while, and this is back when Facebook's pop, and you can find anyone on Facebook. I just quickly look, and this girl is on a D1 scholarship to play soccer at Notre Dame or something, which is like a top 5 program.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, she's really fast.
She's fast.
Yeah, she's just fast.
Yeah, and you can see
And,
your future. You're like, I could have done that.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically, I was just.
It was
I'm a
like
D1
Notre
athlete.
Dame or comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like education or this.
Or
You know?
this.
That was mine. I didn't go to college. So
Right.
yeah.
You didn't go to college.
I didn't go to college.
So what?
I could have went.
When did you? You could have gotten.
That's what people say when they couldn't go to college. I mean, I had a bunch of offers, but I couldn't. I just didn't have the time.
It was just time.
Yeah.
You know,
Cows.
cows.
Did you go to college?
I graduated
You
college.
said you went to Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State. I got. It's funny how much people bring this up when they I'll get interviewed, and they obviously quickly Google me. I have my MBA as well, so I
Dang.
stayed around, and it's
Basketball. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't
I
realize.
got my
He got his NDA.
3 semesters.
Yeah.
my MD.
I got an NDA once. Is that not what? Is that the same? Got it.
But I went to
Is it
school
an
MBA,
MBA,
Masters of
got
Business
it.
and Ministry. I'm a Master's of Business,
Wow.
which is kind of but
How's that?
yeah, I
has
mean,
that helped you in your life?
Not at all.
That's
I just,
awesome, though.
I
you could
just
say
stuck
it.
around. I mean, it was Oklahoma State. No, I love Go Pokes, but
Yeah, careful. You know,
No
they
one
might,
cares.
those
Yeah.
private shows. You know, they might bring you back.
what? When did you leave your small little town and get?
It
to
was
Nashville?
I moved when I was about, so I did have a scholarship to go to music school, and so that was like that was kind of the plan at first. I was like 17, or I think I was 17, and I won this competition through the Assemblies of God. Had this thing called Fine Arts Festival. It was like a whole deal. It was like national. Huge deal, biggest thing you've ever heard of.
Yeah,
It was
oh
huge,
my
massive.
gosh.
It was
Yeah,
massive.
I always wanted
You were
to go.
Yeah, you would. This would have been you won.
This was 2009.
9.
Oh, yeah, I
So
remember.
I graduated in
I-
2010.
I watched
I was a big
2008.
fan in 08.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, exactly. I'm the guy from Nothing. Yeah. And so we get to this competition, and I've been doing this thing for quite a while. And so they had all these, different categories, and I won in like male vocal solo. And so if you win, then you get like a full ride to go to music school. And so that was kind of my plan, was to
Is
go.
it an Assemblies of God music school or just
It was, you could go either way.
okay?
Yeah, but I think that you got a better scholarship if you went to like an AG school, I think, or at least a Bible college. That was what they didn't tell you. Like, hey, we got some good news and we got some bad news. All right, yeah, you got a full scholarship to a pretty specific place.
Right.
Oh, okay, I
Cool,
guess that's
yeah.
all right. But in order to like maintain this scholarship, I had to have like a 2.1 GPA. And so that's not good to tell somebody, you know what I mean? Where they're like, hey, this is your senior year. You got to maintain a 2.1.
Yeah.
It's like basically you have to come a couple times.
Yeah, right.
And it was hilarious because I kind of all through high school, I went to private school until 11th grade. And then I knew that I was going to do music. I was in this like high school rock band, Fuller's Field. You guys probably have heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Love their early
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. What's your favorite song? We'll talk about it later.
Savannah's
Julia.
back.
Oh.
So you have heard of
Yeah,
them. Yeah. So you have.
Savannah's
If you
Back.
looked it up right now and you're like, it just said our number one song was Savannah's Back.
Yeah.
That'd be great. No, but so I had this band and I was like, I know I want to do music for a living. And so I feel like, I need to, because I was big into sports. Like I played baseball. I was pretty good at baseball and basketball were like my sports. And so I played all until like my junior year. And then I had gotten in a wreck. And it wasn't just this one instance, but I had hurt my back and I had like 2 herniated discs. And it was like, I'd have these episodes where I like landed on it weird and I like couldn't walk. It was bad.
Wow.
And so I was kind of going through, therapy for that, and they'd kind of lay me on this table and kind of stretch your back apart or whatever. And so while I was doing that, I couldn't play sports, and I was like, if I'm not playing sports, I kind of want to go to this public school that was like a little closer to my house and where all my friends went. So it was like my senior year, I'll go do that. And it was so like coming from a public or private school, and I went to the public school, and I was like, oh man, this is so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, I would had like all the basic classes too. I wasn't trying to get into Harvard. I was taking like, most people that get in, it's like, oh yeah, I took like, algebra 2 or like, all these different, I can't even think of that's how dumb I am. I don't even know the classes that exist. Like, what are the other maths? I don't know. But I was taking these classes that was just like math. That was the name of the class. Yeah. Well,
Math
are you in English this year? Oh, like lit? Like, no, it's just called English. Yeah. There's
Words.
4 people in my class, and they're clearly not going to college.
Yeah.
And I would just I was just chilling, and you could get out. Like, I think at like 11 o'clock, they let you leave school to go get lunch. So I'd go to the Sonic, and we'd go, you go get food. And I normally wouldn't come back for the rest of the day. They just like, yeah, just don't worry about it. All right. We know that you're not going anywhere important.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I ended up graduating with like a pretty good GPA. I think I got like a 3.9 or maybe even a 4.0 for the first half. And so I was like, cool, I'll go to, this is like the longest way to get to how I got to this place. So anyways, when I was 6, but I ended up graduating high school, thankfully. And so I think the biggest thing that kind of pushed me, one of the motivating factors, because I'm going to tell a story because I think it is very funny, but it also was something that really pushed me to be like, okay, I'm doing this music thing. I'm going to show them. My senior year, I got asked by the principal. In my side story, the vice principal was like a big music guy. He loved it. He used to take me out of a class, and we would talk about, like, he played steel guitar. He loved country music. He loved the whole deal, and he was awesome. And Miss Guthrie was our main principal lady.
Shout out.
And shout out Miss Guthrie. I'll never forget you, and you're about to hear why. Okay, I'm gonna really lay it down on Miss Guthrie. So she asks me. I told her, I was like, hey, I wrote this song kind of like about our senior class. I thought it'd be like kind of cool. Like, I had just gotten into songwriting, a couple years before that, and I had wrote this song as kind of like a farewell thing, which sounds pretty stupid when I say it out loud. But at the time, I was like, this is sick, and everyone's going to love it, and I'm going to get the girl. And I didn't really have a girl, but I'd get one of them, you know what I mean?
For sure. Take what you can get.
So I was like, I had this song. She was like, oh my goodness, would you sing it at graduation? And I was like,
Oh, will
things are heating up. I hope I can like even go anywhere after this because I'm going to be so famous here.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, this is going to be so cool. I'm singing at graduation. So I like tell my grandma and like my aunts and uncles and everybody's like coming to graduation. Like, it's a big deal, in the town. And so we get there. Night before graduation, I like do the song at our graduation rehearsal. Our whole class, there was like probably 250 in our graduating class. Everyone's crying. It was like an awesome moment. We're like, this is so cool. And so I was like, man, this is going to be really special tomorrow. I'd like to get to do this in front of there was probably, 5,000 people at this graduation. I was like, this is going to be so cool. And so I get there the next night to graduation. I got my guitar, and I'm walking up, to get in line to line up for the thing. And Miss Guthrie comes over, and she's like, oh, Shay, I'm so sorry. I just meant at the rehearsal. Oh. You're not performing like tonight. And I mean, you should have just, my heart went to my ankles.
Like,
and
as you're like how you're about to go on stage.
We're like about to go.
Oh.
And so I had to like call somebody, maybe like my mom or somebody, to like come get my guitar because we're like walking. And so I just had to like set my guitar down, and like everyone's just like, what the heck? Like, that everyone was like, everyone thought that I was, like our whole class was like, dude, you're gonna crush it.
That's why you do a
You're
rehearsal.
gonna kill it.
Yeah.
That's why you do a rehearsal. I mean, I've got I have the plug-in. I've got everything. I have like a wireless guitar plug-in, and it was the craziest thing, and it broke my heart. And I was like, after that, I was like, first of all, I'm never coming back to this town ever.
I'm not donating a dime
Yeah,
to the
not
music
donating a
department.
dime to this people. And I was like, man, at that point, and I'd already knew I was going to do music, but that was like a real kick in the butt for me because I was so embarrassed. And
Yeah,
I was
it's
like, I
humiliating.
have to do something to like, show these people. That's how it started out. Like, I'm going to show them. But it was
kind of cool.
it was
though.
so
is.
crazy.
'Cause you did show them.
I did. Thank God I showed you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really care about it. But it was after that like really, I was like, okay, I'm going to do music, but I don't think I want to do this whole like college thing. I feel like I we had been coming, kind of backstory since I was like 8 years old. It was like the first time I came to Nashville. And we would start making trips here. I'd made like a couple albums for fun. Like my dad funded it with my sisters. Like we, did that whole deal. And so I kind of knew how Nashville worked, and I knew that people just came here and started writing songs. And that was kind of how you cut your teeth. And everybody that kind of went to college, they kind of were like, if you walked into a publishing company and said like, I have a songwriting degree, they'd be like, oh, that's cool. You can wait outside and never have a job here. It was like, no one took it seriously. And so I was like, I don't want to waste my time doing that. And so if I'm going to do it, I just got to like do it. So back to your original question, when I was 18, I moved. My sister went to a 9-month like ministry school because she was like, she had kind of rededicated her life to God. She was in a rock band. She had like toured all around. She was playing the devil's music. So, she came back to God, wanted to go to this ministry school for 9 months and kind of just, reassess her life. And I was like, I want to go do that because I don't want to go to college, but 9 months, I can do 9 months. And so I went up there with her. And
where was it?
This was in Pittsburgh. Cool. So this was in Allison Park, Pennsylvania, which is like basically Pittsburgh, a suburb. And we were there for about a year, and it was awesome. The experience was awesome. Like I could have gotten my pastoral license, and I didn't. So, but I could have. Could have done it. Didn't fill out the paperwork. But it was an awesome experience. We got to go to like Sweden. They did like a couple trips. It was really a cool experience. But throughout all of that, that was kind of my plan to delay. And I when I got done with that, I got back to Arkansas and I was like, oh no, I think I just like, I wasted a year. Like I said, I wasn't going to, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. Yeah. Cause I was like, I'm going to do music, but like, how am I going to do that? Yeah, right. And I was like, at the time I was making like YouTube videos, getting tens of views off of that. And so I just didn't really know what to do. And I was home for about like a short amount of time, maybe like a couple weeks, and kind of trying to figure out what my next move was. And I get this text from this guy that we had met in Pittsburgh. And he was like, hey, man, I've got T-Pain wants to meet you. He like saw your YouTube stuff and like wants to meet you.
T-Pain.
And he was a backup dancer for T-Pain at the time. And so I was like, oh my, what? This is crazy. I was in a movie theater.
Yeah. Tylenol pain relief.
Tylenol pain relief. I was like, that's his full name. So you do know his full name.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
But he was like, hey, T-Pain wants to FaceTime you. And I'm like in my hometown theater, like watching a movie. And I was like, so like I knew the manager and I was like,
Mr.
I need to get
Payne?
Wi-Fi. And I was like, T-Pain's trying to call me. I sound like a crazy person. I'm running in like, help me.
Someone,
T-Pain's on the phone.
Virgin Miss Guthrie. Virgin Miss Guthrie. I wanted to hear this.
Everyone's like, what are you talking about? So I ended up like FaceTiming T-Pain. Long story short, I ended up moving to Atlanta and living basically with T-Pain for like a year and a half. And that was eventually what, like, I knew I had to eventually make it to, Nashville. But he loved country music, and like, I mean, I would just go in there, and that's a stories for another time. But that was by far the craziest point in my life. I mean, the stuff that we were doing was crazy. Yeah. It was nuts. The people we were meeting, like, it was just crazy. Like Owen Wilson would just show up one day, and you'd just be like, "What is my life right now? This is so crazy." And I'm like, I'm the only white kid there. They thought that was hilarious. And it was the funnest experience because I just got to see like another side of life that I'd never been exposed to before, for better or worse. It was just crazy. Yeah, and it was a wild time, but it was awesome, and it taught me a lot. But it got me to Nashville, and I was like, started coming here, and I think I was getting paid like maybe $2,000 a month or something like that, which sounds like a lot until you had to pay $500 for rent in Atlanta, and I was also paying $500 for rent here. And then I was paying $500 to this manager, which was the guy who introduced me to T-Pain.
The backup dancer.
He became my manager. That was the whole deal. And so it was just crazy. I mean, I was living on just no money. And so I'm like crashing on couches, like, doing the whole deal. And you're trying to like go out, and meet people and do the whole thing. And I was just like, we'd write every single day. And, it was just kind of that until December 7th, 2012, I went to a house party because I heard that there was a keg, and I was like, that's sick. I can't afford to have a beer. Yeah. So I'd love to go have one of those.
Yeah. I mean, it's Pearl Harbor Day. You gotta celebrate.
Exactly. And you had to celebrate that, and I'll never forget. Shut up. That's going to be the intro. Shut up, Pearl Harbor. And I was like, okay, let's go to this party. And I walked in, and that was Dan's house. It was him and this guy, Andy Albert, who wrote a bunch of the songs on this current record. And we ended up all just hitting it off, and me and Dan wrote the next day, and the rest was kind of history. I think we put out our first single in the summer of 2013.
There you go,
and
man.
it was just
pretty quick.
Wow,
T-Pain.
T-Pain.
So
that's I got the surgery, T-Pain surgery. Yeah. You know they had an app. You know his app.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Turns
I'm
out you
gonna
can
play
get
with
it on the inside.
You get it on the inside.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat deal.
Yeah, it's people.
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
realize.
it's been a crazy. It's been 10 years now that Dan and I have been in a band.
You
which
still in
is
touch
like-
with T-Pain?
Yeah, I talk to him every once in a while. Yeah.
Have you guys ever formally worked on like a project together?
There's some songs floating out there. I think.
SoundCloud.
There's some SoundCloud songs that are out there.
I like that.
It's pretty good content.
Dig those up, man.
I'll have to find that. Probably on YouTube somewhere. But no, it was a whole thing. Like we definitely, when Dan and I like formed the band, it was a complicated relationship after that. But it was without getting too much into detail, it was a rough time in his life. And it was just the lawyers got involved and it became like a whole thing. But we kind of rekindled our friendship, and there's definitely no hard feelings, but it was definitely a huge, part of me being able to get here was because of him. So I'll always be grateful, for that.
For sure. Legend.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I can't even, sometimes when I say it, like tell the stories out loud, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. I was with T-Pain. That was wild.
What were these YouTube videos? Just like instructional stuff?
No, I would just like do covers and like songs that I've written, like real bad stuff.
And you've wiped the internet of these, or are they?
They're probably still floating out there.
Probably floating out there?
No, they're probably all wiped.
They're wiped?
Yeah, don't even try. Don't even try to look at them. No, I think they're all wiped. I think
No.
Yeah, they're all
T-Pain took care of that. He knows,
I had
knows
like
Mr. YouTube.
There was some bad songs out there, which is like really embarrassing. Every once in a while, there'll be somebody come up and be like, I just love, like, it's not even the songs like that we've won Grammys for. It's like, hey, like I loved your
Savannah's
love
Back.
that you wrote when you were.
Yeah.
I love Savannah's Back. You're like, oh God, what?
Really?
What are you talking about?
Okay.
That's kind of
always
funny in
interesting.
general. I feel like that probably happens to you. I feel like it happens to me. I'll run into someone from my hometown, and it's like, I haven't seen them in 10 years. A lot has happened. And like the thing that comes to mind, it's like, man, it's so crazy to see you now. Because I remember you were so good at dodgeball. And it's like, oh, really? That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, they're still living in the past. Like, God, you were so good. And they kind of put their head down thinking about the good old days. You got those things. All my friends, like my best friends are still back in Arkansas, which is great for me. Because I feel like, you go out and you live this just I almost said alternative life, but that's not what I was going to say. This kind of better life. But it is like you live this full on, like what a lot of my friends, like they save up money to go on like vacations to places that I have to go to. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
yeah.
you know what that's
it's
like.
insane.
Like you guys,
Yeah,
you
it's
travel, you get to go play golf in these places that literally are the most beautiful places, but you're
Doesn't
having
make
to
sense.
do it. It doesn't make any sense. But it's a good like perspective when you go back home and you're like, I do really have it good. And obviously there's like sacrifices to doing what we all do that are like, there's definitely a give and take. And some days I'm like, God, I'd take that gas station job right about now, to be home with your family.
Yeah.
But it's always so crazy. My family used to like the things that your family is impressed by. That's a funny thing to think of.
Oh, so that's a great question.
Yeah.
Is there something that happened early on? It sounds like you have really sweet parents that like, because our careers, I'd imagine you doing all that. Sounds like they're very supportive of music, but it's foreign to them still. Like, was there something early on where maybe they said something that wasn't the right thing, or something big happened that they didn't get? Like for me, I remember when I first just like went up for sale with like a comedy club show, and I sold out 250 tickets, and it's like I was just couldn't wrap my head around that. I was like 250. Like I remember going to the day of the show and not being convinced they would show up. It's like they bought the tickets, but are they also
I
gonna?
still feel that way.
Yeah, and it's just like what, and it's just mind blowing when that starts happening. I remember telling my parents or friends too, and I'd be like, "Yeah, man, I did the show. It's sold out." And they'd be like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, you have like 1 million followers. That makes sense." Like, but that's actually not exactly how it works.
How dare you?
Yeah, no, it just because that doesn't mean people actually will buy tickets. It's actually a very big deal. My parents are just like, "Cool, well, when you're in town, we'll catch you."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think you realize how big a deal this is. But they've always been so supportive. They just don't know. Like
they just don't understand like what that means.
Or my mom, when she came and watched one of my first shows, I'm working so hard. I'm up there for an hour, and her biggest thing she was wowed by. She's like, "How do you memorize all that?" You memorize the whole thing. No cheat, no anything. Like that's not the impressive part.
The jokes were good, Mom. She's like, "Oh, I'm sure they were. I'm sure they
no,
were. You were there. You heard them."
Is there anything?
My parents were. They were. My dad's always been like so supportive. Like, and he loves. Like, he definitely is. Like, I definitely get my desire for like more an adventure for my dad. My mom would be fine with like if she had just like a couple cattle and lived like just on the grass would be fine with her. She's like, oh, this is a great plot of land. We could get some sticks and put this up. This is beautiful. This is stunning. We're so blessed.
Yeah.
You know, that's my mom.
Love it.
And my dad's like he owns a construction company. And so like he's always like, and I get my love, like I love real estate. I love building. I love the whole deal. And it's just this sense of like, I want to do more. Like there's always like, what's the next thing, which is like something I'm working on, trying to be content, you know?
Sure.
But my dad is like, he's always been super up to date. Like he would travel to shows. And for like the first 3 years, I don't think my mom ever came to a show, like ever.
Really?
And it wasn't like that she didn't want to. It was like she does not on her phone. Like she just recently got on Facebook, which has been a problem. But she's like just discovering the world. Like, have you guys heard of this Facebook?
Facebook. It's
Yeah, Mom.
very reliable
I have.
news. On
Yeah,
here.
when I was 16, it came out. But she's like just into that world, and so she was like, you know, always really supportive, but she just literally didn't understand the scope of it and couldn't believe when she'd be like in Walmart and people would come up and be like, your son is, I just love that. And she would like legitimately in her mind be like, how did they know that?
Yeah.
How would they possibly know that? And she's like, I remember one time she's like, I think it's going pretty well. People around here are really starting to hear of you
starting
guys.
to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
At this
feel
point,
like-
we'd like won like CMA awards.
Several Grammys.
Like, Mama,
She's
we
like,
have
people
we
are-
have 7 number ones, Mom.
People are catching on.
Yeah. We've done, this is our 5th tour. And so it was a little bit of a learning curve for me to like know how to react to my mom, because it was like, she was blown away. Like, and there's certain things that like, you know, my mom does, she's not on Instagram. She wasn't on Facebook. She wasn't on Twitter. She wasn't on YouTube. She wasn't on anything. So she was fully unaware of like what I was doing. She was kind of blown away when I came in for Thanksgiving and like was still doing music. You know what I mean? She's like, I don't know how he's paying for it, but they're still living out there.
Yeah,
They're
we're
still
praying
living
for
out
him.
there. Blessings on them. And so it was like when we played the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade though,
That got
That,
her
like,
fired up.
things, she was like, oh my, like you're a singer. Like, yeah, Mom, I've been trying to tell you this.
Snoopy's right
Dude,
there.
And my aunts and uncles, like everybody, that was like the first thing that we did. And this was after being on like so many other things, you know, so many like big things. Like we had done Ellen, Jimmy Kimmel, we'd done all the things like, you know.
That didn't
And
click
that
like
and
the
that didn't.
parade
They
did.
had no idea about it. It wasn't reaching, you know, their 3 channels there. But they had the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on
that's
Channel
cool.
5. And it was like my aunts and uncles. Like I remember coming in because I flew like straight from there to go back home for Thanksgiving. And I remember like everyone was walking around like with that look, like they were proud. Like, you're doing it, man.
You know,
You're doing it.
It's fun. That's the Macy's. That's a perfect thing to get on to
Yeah.
get the approval of that generation.
Yes.
I remember they showed one of my videos that we made together on Fox News.
Yeah.
And
Massive.
My parents in their Bible study group, they
Yeah.
were fired up. They're like,
Yeah.
they're like, Trey, we're getting blown up. They saw you on Jesse.
It
Waters'
starts a
show.
revival
Yeah,
in their
I was like,
in their
all right,
group.
easy, yeah.
They're like, oh my god,
Oh my gosh, he's fine. He's doing it.
He's doing it. He's doing it. That happened at my parents. It's so specific, and that has happened like recently. That's the only time my mom texts me. Was like our songs play a lot apparently in the background of like Fox and Friends. Oh, really? Hey, dude, my mom loses her mind. She didn't even know when we had won. I had to tell her that we had won a Grammy, like our first Grammy, and I had to tell her about it. She just
What's
didn't.
that?
You know, she's like, "What do you like?" I'm Grammy.
Yeah.
that's what my kids call my.
You should see more of
"What
your
are you
real
talking
Grammy. How about that?
You think that Grammy's important? Is that more important than the real Grammy? And it's not even like when I told her, it held no weight. She has no idea. She's
Right.
so, she's that sheltered.
Which is so humbling and kind of like, you know what?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It obviously does matter, but it
But it doesn't though.
It
You know
also
what I mean? Like
doesn't,
it
yeah.
really, really doesn't. And that's why like I will always be grateful for that, because it really does give you a perspective, because in this line of work, we really do let ourselves like prop ourselves up on these like things where it's like, and it's like our insecurities, like, well, at least like they can never take our Grammys away from us, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
but it literally doesn't matter. And it just kind of is laughable, but it's like, it is special.
For
And
sure.
It's like it's a thing, an ode to a moment in time. I appreciate that for it. That's why I love plaques and I love like all these things, because it like reminds me of that time. But when you start putting value in like the actual thing, it's like, then you can kind of get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, if I don't get another one, then I'm worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And it sounds like your mom sounds like a great character. It sounds like all our moms would be a great friend.
What's your mom's name? My mom's name's Cindy.
Karen.
Karen. That's
Dead
fantastic.
serious. Yeah.
Cindy and Karen would tear
Cindy
it
and
up
Karen,
in
they
the
would.
Bible
Trish,
study
dude.
together, dude.
Trisha, good memory.
Trisha.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not Trish.
Both work.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Is your
So
mom?
she's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fun. Yeah, she's fun. Either work.
If
either
you're
work.
a Trisha and you demand to be named like it's not Trish,
Yeah,
then
it's
it's like you're a little bit more uptight. But Trish is like,
Either work.
call me Trish. You know, it's like
Just Trish.
Just call me Trish. It's fine.
Or the mom. She's call me mom. To all people.
Yeah.
That's real fun.
That's super cool.
Is your mom? I get she's a sweet church lady. How
Yeah.
conservative is she? Is she the type of conservative where when you have a song called Tequila, she's like, "Why are we singing about tequila?"
Oh yeah, it was a real problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, we
This
did
is
it.
like legitimately.
It's the song of the century. She's like,
That's her
"Oh,
least
we
favorite
really?
song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really."
She I remember
That's hysterical.
still feeling like when we sang Tequila. My mom came to a show in like Dallas one time. We were playing like literally to a state. We're in a stadium,
Right.
and there was like 60,000 people, and they're just screaming every word of Tequila. And I could feel. I think it might have been the Holy Spirit convicting me, but I could feel. She was like at front of house, and I remember like
She's shaking
seeing
her
a
head.
video, and my mom was like, we had just played some song we wrote about like our grandparents, like her parents. And like she was just beaming, like crying. And then we played Tequila last night. I saw one video of her, and she was just kind of looking around, like
She's like
super nervous.
putting
and, like,
headphones in, just
Yeah.
like listening. I'm gonna listen to some worship. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize we worshiping alcohol around here. Yeah. She's
Really
like praying. She's just
promoting
like
the drinking.
She's rebuking it right there. You know, she's got her hand on the console.
got a
like,
cross holding it up.
Anytime
They don't
you
know
go
what
to-
he doesn't
you
know
go
what he's
to
doing.
Dan and Shay with his mom's there. He's like, "When I taste sparkling grape juice." Like,
When I
wait, what?
taste taquitos. We're like, oh, okay, it's an alternative
Wow, I
version.
guess I hear
Yeah.
it differently. My
Yeah,
speakers.
she listens to the non-explicit version.
When
But
I
it was
taste
it is
taquitos.
so funny. She is that conservative. I'm
Right.
talking.
Yep.
She's real conservative on every aspect. You could apply that to
sure,
politics.
sure,
You could
sure.
apply it to whatever you'd like to.
You bet.
It's pretty great.
She go the conspiracy route.
You know,
She may not know about him if she's
I wouldn't
not-
say
if
she's
she's
gone
off
the
the
route.
grid.
Instead, she lives there. She's not on her way there.
she's
she
on
is,
the inter-
She is
she's-
living
yeah.
in there.
planted her flag.
Yeah, but hers like if my mom starts to believe it, then I'm like maybe. I'm a conspiracy guy though. I love it. I'm all in.
I love a good conspiracy.
I'm in for possibilities. I'm an adventure seeker, and it's like maybe.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? If you told me like, hey, like this house, it sinks down in the ground sometimes, I'd be like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I bet it
I
does.
believe it. I bet it does.
Yeah.
Huh, wouldn't be surprised. I feel like we're so unsurprised by everything nowadays to the point where they were like, hey, there's aliens, and we're like, oh, that's nuts.
Dude,
And then we just moved on.
right.
How
Well,
did we move on from that?
Well, Taylor Swift came to watch Travis Kelce.
No, that's true. And I
So-
hadn't even thought about it. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Just completely forgot about it. You know what? She did do that. And I'd like to dive right headfirst
We
into
gotta
that.
talk all
and
about
talk
that.
about it.
Yeah.
I can't believe how
Cindy
big of a
even
deal
knows
it
about
is.
that. She's,
Cindy knows
she
about
texts
it.
you.
Yeah, she's
Taylor
like,
Swift?
have you heard about this Taylor Swift
Like, Mom,
ordeal?
wow.
Like, now you're going to text me back, Mom?
No.
Yeah, it's a
That
whole
was
thing.
not well. Okay. We're gonna end with this. What's your favorite conspiracy? Is one pop in your head?
It does, and I cannot say it. It is very specific. I can't wait to tell you guys about it and dive right in after this.
Oh, I can't wait.
I love
No,
it.
I'm trying to think of like one that is
But like you
sayable.
said, it's like so many. I don't even know what's. I was scrolling Twitter today, and there's this big tweet that said like, one researcher found that the vaccine has altered the human DNA forever.
No, that one's true. That one's true.
Well, that's actually not a
that one's
conspiracy
true,
trait.
yeah.
Oh,
well, Trey, let me. Conspiracy. Conspiracies are not true. Yeah. All right, they're silly. That's make believe land. This is facts. All right, and I'd like to get right into it. And I brought some papers.
Travis
here,
Kelce
with
promoted
me.
Pfizer, and
It's just sponsored. Like we are sponsored by Pfizer, by the way. We can't talk about this.
yeah.
But I will say, I like to get into conspiracies because, for one thing, I do believe a lot of them. But what gets me in trouble is when I go back home, and I'm like, this is for sure a fact. This is not a conspiracy. This is just data. But when you get around other people's phones and you have like their contact, it shares like your information is all over the place. And when you get like when I come like I almost said something weird. When I get close to my wife, I was gonna use a different word, didn't. When I get close to my wife, I will literally, she'll be scrolling and like telling me about something, like texting me about it like early in the day, or she'll be like, I'll look over there and I'll see her scrolling and she's looking at like, Caraway pans or something. I don't even know if that's the brand name, but she'll say like something or not even say it. She'll be scrolling. And then like 20 minutes later, it's on my feed. And that's all well and good until I go home to my parents. And the things my mom is looking up is wild. Dude, and I was there for like 3 days and I get on there and it's like the first thing that popped up was like Trump, a time traveler? And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, Mom, we
What?
gotta talk.
We gotta talk about this, guys. And she's like, it might be true. I mean, he predicted this. I mean, she's so far down the rabbit hole and stuff that it's like, man, and now I'm starting to believe it.
Yeah, right.
So I can't believe Trump did all that stuff.
Yeah,
then and now.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Right, I know.
But that was like the first thing that popped up, and I just died laughing. And I was like, you can tell that I've been home. I'm getting the craziest stuff. I mean, it's wild. I mean, I got one the other day. This is real. That it was just this video, and it was like portal opens in New Brunswick or something crazy, and I'm like, I'm in. And so I watched the rest of it. That's the problem, is that I got down the rabbit hole.
So now
now I'm down it. It doesn't let you
yeah.
out gently. It's like, hey, maybe like get out of here. It's like, come in.
Yeah.
Welcome in.
Welcome.
Strap in. But this one like literally showed, and it looked so real. Guys, it looks so real.
It's such a portal.
There's portals.
Well,
So
New Brunswick, New Jersey.
basically, there's portals in the world. But it fully like opened up, and you could just like see another place. And the guy's like kind of moving his hand. He was like, "Oh, this is crazy." And I'm like, "That's nuts."
We got to do a show in New Brunswick. I got
We
an
have
excuse to go there.
Well, we don't have to. We can go.
get in the
We can
portal.
go in the portal.
Yeah.
The portal's right in Kansas City, so we don't even have to go there.
Yeah,
we can just go
it's
straight to
amazing.
the other
We
place.
just pop back.
Pretty
forgot
cool
about
stuff.
That's how.
Oh no! I broke the microphone.
So that's great.
Oh god! Oh boy, guys.
Oh, okay. We got to get off air and talk about some crazy stuff.
We got to talk about some crazy stuff.
So everyone, Shay Mooney, follow him. Thanks for being on. Dan and Shay, new album. Stream it. Yeah, they're going on tour, big tour.
With Ben Rector.
Heartbreak on the Map tour. We're gonna be.
Oh yes, Ben
coming.
Rector announced. Can
Ben
we say
Rector
that?
is announced. Ben
Ben
Rector,
Rector.
Haley Witters,
Let's
and this
go.
is gonna be our biggest tour we've ever done.
Biggest
So I'm
tour
stoked.
yet. You coming through Kansas City?
We are coming through
Arrowhead?
Kansas City.
I hope we're there. We're
And
coming, man.
I hope that one's announced. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching. I mean,
We
you're
are coming
coming to
Kansas
every
City at
city.
some point.
Yeah,
we're
you
doing
will.
the cities. You know,
You're
I
doing
think
the
that one's
cities.
announced. But Kansas City's that's like one of our favorite markets to play. I think we are
Kansas is
playing
a great
T-Mobile.
market.
Is it called T-Mobile still?
Yeah.
They're always changing the names
It was
of those
Sprint.
places.
Now
It's
it's
T-Mobile. They're
got
laying
it.
off a lot of people, so I don't know if things are going great over there. But,
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
T-Mobile for
Could be
now.
Singular coming back.
Yeah.
You guys remember Singular?
Straight talk.
Yeah, Altel.
Singular Wireless. Altel bought Singular.
Cricket, maybe?
Yeah.
Cricket. But thank you for having me, dude. I'm such a
Cricket's
huge fan, honestly, of both of you guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
This
dude.
has been
No,
fantastic.
it means a lot. I know we've been able to connect here and there over the years and never met, so I'm glad we could finally hang. And
It's so cool we're having a
Thanks,
sleepover tonight. I can't believe you guys
It's
went for
gonna
that.
be
That's
fun.
super
Can't
cool.
dude,
Oh, let's put some Trump on TV.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. I'll show you guys the portal.
click
I have
up
it.
in
Yeah.
Asher's crystals, dude. We're on
Oh
here.
man, it's
All right.
crystal. He has so much crystal.
Thanks, y'all. Check out Dan and Shay's new album. See him on tour.
Boom.
Much love.
Hope you enjoyed the interview. Personally, I did. I didn't know a lot about Dan and Shay before we interviewed them, and I'll be honest, I got a big Shay Mooney kick afterwards, where I just
Same.
like went and looked him up, and it was awesome. He is good at singing.
He should just get out and meet people because you meet him and you're like, oh yeah, they do have a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about just getting around a guy.
And
Get
it's
those streams up.
so talented. I'm not sure if we talked about this ever on the podcast, but when we were in Nashville that day and we told other people in the music industry, like, where are you going later? Or we're going to Shay Mooney's house. Like, oh, best voice in Nashville. Like, it's just unanimously, everyone
wow.
agreed
Yeah.
he is the best singer in like music, basically.
Yes.
So that was cool. Didn't know that.
That's amazing.
Anyway, back to current life in Australia. So actually, before we were in Australia, we're all sitting in a green room in Honolulu, and we're gearing up for our flight to Sydney the next day. And it's like it was time, like, hey, let's figure out what life is going to be like tomorrow, because we know we have like an 11-hour flight from Hawaii to Australia. We're crossing the international date line. We're leaving at noon. We're landing at 6 p.m. the next day. I wonder what it's going to be like. What are our bodies going to be like? What's the sun going to be like? And then started maybe the dumbest conversation that I've ever been a part of.
I asked some of the dumbest questions I've ever asked. So
Let me
All
just
I know
give
is,
it, yeah.
I just walked in on the dressing room like before the show, and I overheard Jake say like, "Yeah, well, it's like when you face west, the sun goes down on the west every night." So, and I was like,
I got
"What am I walking into?"
I got so
feel
turned
like-
around. I was like, "Where does the sun set?"
Yeah,
I will say that
what
was
are you
the-
explaining to Katie right now?
That was the only thing I was sure of in that conversation. Because at one point we had gotten very confused of like, will the sun set while we were in there? Will it not? And Katie was like, I'm not sure if the sun always sets in the west. In fact, like in China, where does it set?
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a little bit. I was like, maybe she's on. I was like, no, I
I'm
think
like,
it's.
if we're going
half
into
of them, it is
the
total
west,
darkness the whole time.
is it going?
Yeah, I just feel like it was 20 minutes of a convo that the only conclusion was the sun still does set in the west.
And
every
We
day.
know that.
Yeah.
We
At the end of
don't
it,
know.
Every day does that.
because we were factoring in. I mean, it was trippy trying to think like, all right, the Earth is rotating against us.
I was going to say the Earth rotates east.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And we are
That's
flying
what we
west.
determined.
So that's why the sun always sets in the west, because The Earth, yeah. So, but we were trying to figure out, all right, if we leave at noon and it's 11 hours, theoretically, not even theoretically, just you should see darkness, right? It's going to be 11 p.m., but we're flying west, so it's like we're flying towards the sun. So maybe there won't be.
So
I know,
really hot.
Yeah. At one point I said and believed, I was like, so I think here's what's going to happen. The sun is going to set and then we'll see it rise quickly and then we will see it set again when we land. I fully believe that. I don't know why.
We're going to see a solar eclipse. It's going to be perfect. Yeah.
I don't know where I thought the sun would be. I fully thought that.
It was bright the
entire
whole
time.
So
Yep.
bright.
Spoiler. So if you're in your head trying to think, what does happen? It's just so sunny the whole flight.
Do you
Shocker.
feel like, I feel like this kind of goes with this, like this trip, I packed and prepared a lot for it, like packing wise, but the actual steps of this trip, I feel like it's kind of like, oh yeah, so we have an 11-hour flight tomorrow. What time is that? What are we going to be doing on that flight? Like it feels a little.
It's like they've gotten shorter every flight, but they feel longer.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
you know what? Sometimes you gear up for a long flight. You're like, you know, sitting there for 7 hours, watching a few movies, I deserve that.
I was
It won't be
excited
too
for the
bad.
first one.
Yeah, maybe have a cocktail. They serve you weird food, but you run out of that quick. And yeah, it was like a 2.5 hour flight from Brisbane to here, and I was like, oh my goodness.
But I don't know. Having Thomas though, I mean, I've only watched
you
a
something to
little
do,
bit of
a
TV.
baby.
I feel like I'm mostly just entertaining him.
Yeah.
It was rough on the Perth flights. He just slept the whole last flight.
Yeah, it's nice.
And they're real. In America, you just board with a baby, and they're like, yeah, whatever. You don't have to buckle them up. Here, all hands are on deck when you have a baby. They walk over multiple times. They hand him a special seatbelt. You have to connect to your seatbelt.
I have to
She was
seatbelt
in the
him
middle
to
of
my
nursing
seatbelt.
him, like clearing the whole thing. She's like, you're gonna have to stop that. I'm gonna need to see you strap him in.
So I pull
she
him out,
pulls
and
him
he's
out
like,
and strap him. And he's like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
trying to like buckle. I'm like, I promise I'll do this when you walk away. Just like give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mess
just
around.
chill. Which is
But-
funny because everything else about the airport experience is so chill here.
No ID.
You don't have to ever show identification. They check your boarding pass a couple times, but that's it.
yeah. And again, the communication barrier and the communication difference makes you not sure if you messed up or if they messed up.
Totally.
Like I asked the guy for a lemonade, and he handed me a
yeah.
lemonade, but then he informed me, and he's like, "Your card." And I was kind of like, oh, and he's like, oh, on this plane, only water and coffee is complimentary. So I was like, okay, I don't need to buy water. And then they come back, and long story short, there was this issue with our ticket where they felt bad for Thomas was supposed to have his own seat. He didn't. Like, oh, you guys were the couple, we'll give you free drinks. I was like, oh, that lemonade would be great then. And he handed me a Sprite. And I was like, did I say like lemonade instead of lemonade? Because like he gave me lemonade the first time, so I'm like, did he just mess up, or did I say?
So
Did
we
he
just,
think
Did I order it?
lemon lime?
we just kept the Sprite. So we
Lemon
didn't
lime?
ask for.
Yeah, you just ordered lemon. And he's like, oh, I mean, the Sprite's the closest thing, I guess.
And I was like, Katie, I always revert back to like an 8-year-old boy, like, Mom, tell him. I was like, Katie, tell him we want a lemonade. She's like, I don't care. I'm like, okay, then I guess we'll drink these. She's like, I won't drink the Sprite. So we just put 2 Sprites in the pocket and left.
On Rachel's 11-hour flight where she was feeling sick, she was like, the only thing I want, I went and got her like pretzels or peanuts, whatever. She's like, I don't want to eat anything. You just get me a ginger ale. I was like, yeah, of course. Get her ginger ale. I mean, 30 seconds in, just spills it all over my leg, And I'm like, I'm so sorry that you now feel bad because you spilled it, Like you're just, I'm sure that just terrorizes you. But yeah, got a good ginger ale.
I will
leg.
say, I don't feel like I've had much jet lag. These people.
Oh, Perth was brutal for me.
Really?
Yeah.
But like for a day.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't. I feel like I had a headache for 3 days straight. And I was like, I don't know if that's.
Maybe you had it. I mean,
jet lag?
there was it's like the long flight to Sydney, stayed in Sydney, right to Perth. Like I was almost up for 24 hours at one point, which is not a good feeling. But after a day or so, you're good. Some of these people, they're like, oh, you have to give it at least 4 days before you do anything to adjust. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was still fine. I was still waking up early. We were doing workouts together.
Yeah.
I mean, I still had a normal day. I wasn't up all night.
I honestly did feel better in Perth. We were waking up at 5 a.m. with Thomas.
Oh, you want to talk
It's kind
solar
of
eclipse?
amazing.
It felt like there was a solar eclipse coming through the window at 5.
It was
This is
so
the brightest
bright
city
at 5.
in the world.
Yes. And I felt great there. I kind of was like, is this when I should be waking up? Should I be
That's
waking
not
up
bad.
at
I
5?
mean, I've been up early this whole trip. What time is it? What is it? I've done so much today.
Yeah, you wake up at
And
5.
I
It's
haven't
pretty
even had
awesome.
lunch yet. Yeah.
Yeah, you wake up at 5 and you do like everything you were going to do that day by 9. You're like, Wow.
And
Yeah, it
NFL
is
football
nice.
made a brilliant move by starting the Europe games, so you get like 8 a.m. games. Watching football at like 7 in the morning is the best time to watch it.
I agree.
Just start your day with it. You agree?
Because like I can just sleep while you watch it, or I went and got my nails done. Today
And
while you
and
watch.
we're doing this podcast for you guys because we love you. We just witnessed a Chiefs debacle that really took the wind out of our sails.
Yeah,
And we're bouncing back in a big way.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. I got a glass of water. It's a long season, guys.
Yeah, Chiefs need to figure it out. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll have next week will be the last episode of the year with some more updates and stories and whatnot. And like, subscribe. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Correct opinion.